Howdy, Geeky. How you doing? Hello? Testing?
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Hello? Testing better, worse, higher,
You sound better than
lower.
yesterday, for sure. But no, I hear you. I hear you.
All right.
But it is Friday night. It
Uh,
is April the 7th,
some fun.
2023. It is a Good Friday for some reason. I don't know what makes it Good Friday, but I assume I will learn tonight what that means and why it is the wrong Friday for that from a certain friend. But I hope you all had a great week because it is time for Coast to Ghost, episode 108. We've done 2 years and change of this. My gosh. Geeky sir, how is your week going? I assume you watched the Super Mario Brothers movie.
I did. I am watching it tomorrow.
Okay.
I was
All
either
right.
come do the show or watch the movie.
Damn. Damn. All right. Well, there's. I guess then
So
this
as
week
soon as you guys start talking,
we'll have to do a spoiler-free review this week, and then God, this is gonna be hard to lay out what are and aren't spoilers, won't it?
if anything, I would just jump off the show as soon as you guys bring it up.
Okay. All right.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. That's more than fair enough. Okay.
Yeah.
What?
But
So
also, shalom to all my Jewish people, perhaps celebrating Passover, because Passover's today as well, I think. Shalom.
now Passover, that's the one where they took sheep's blood and like put it on their door to tell God not to punish them for something.
Yes. Not to kill the firstborn child.
Jeez, what? So he just killed their firstborn child because someone else was being bad to them, if I'm not mistaken?
Well, at the time, the Jews were enslaved to the Egyptians. I know it's a weird concept to think right now in our
Okay,
current
but
society.
so to punish, so he punished everyday Egyptians because the Pharaoh enslaved them?
Yeah, I mean, the Pharaoh would not let my people go.
Okay, but why is he punishing all the other Egyptians?
I mean, because think about it. Your firstborn child dies, and you gotta drive. I guess more like it's optics. You're driving them to insanity. I guess I don't know.
That's just weird. Like, wait. So like, I'm the bad guy, so you punish a bunch of people that are my subjects, I guess?
I guess I don't know. I'm not a prophet, ghost. I'm just a shit poster on the internet.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. Well, nice one, God. You sure showed the Pharaoh. Okay, cool. So what makes today a good Friday, though? Is what I'm curious. Like, people say
Today's when the atonement happened.
the
So
fulfillment.
bleed the atonement. So bleeding in every pore. He goes to the garden.
Wait. Who is bleeding from every pore? Was there a plague or
Jesus.
something?
No, Jesus.
Oh, so it's is it when they like nailed him up on the cross?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, but why does that make it a Good Friday? That sounds like a bad thing to do. Crucifying Jesus.
Well, I mean, he sacrificed. He said he was crucified for our sins.
Yeah.
But why does that make it good, right? Like, it's not the act of crucifying him is not a good thing, right? It's supposed to be something bad, right?
I mean, I didn't come up with the term. You want me to look this up?
I was just wondering if you knew offhand, because I know much less.
Motherfuckers forgot my fork.
You forgot your fork? Yeah,
I mean,
we have a law preventing them from forks without asking for it, because California
Really?
does the real issues. Yeah, in certain districts, certain areas of California, if you don't ask someone if they want a fork and give them a fork, you've technically violated the law.
You see, like chopsticks, I get because not all you people are like skilled in chopsticks. By the way, get
No, no,
good.
no.
It's not that
Any
hard.
utensils or condiments. If people don't ask for them and you give it to them, you've technically broken a law in some jurisdictions.
Well, thank fucking God, I'm tired of getting like massive packs of ketchup. Like, I know it's a hot take right now, but ketchup fucking sucks.
I don't like ketchup either, but I understand people who do like it.
Yeah.
so, Ghost, to answer your question, it's really Holy Friday. That's the old. It's just
See, that
Good
makes
Friday
way more
carried
sense.
Yeah.
Holy Friday makes way more sense because Good Friday makes it sound like the crucifixion was a good thing instead of just ex
I
post
mean,
facto good thing.
it. Well, I mean, it's because Jesus by
It is
Jesus,
done. Yeah.
he became the finally complete sacrifice for our sins. That's why.
Huh.
I mean, that was you could say in a holy but macabre way, his sacrifice was good.
Yeah.
Think it was good, or was he in extreme pain?
I mean, he was on the cross for 3 days and 3 nights, and then was
But
buried
like he's
properly.
like a divine being. Does that even affect him?
Well, he was still like human when they did it to him.
Is that how it works though? Like I don't know. I don't know. It's okay. So it's Holy Friday. That makes way more sense.
Yep.
It's also first day of Passover, so shalom, everyone. I guess God decided not to murder your firstborn if you gutted a sheep or something. But
And
what?
I
Why
hope
would
you guys.
sheep's blood? I have a curious question. Why would sheep's blood make it okay? Like what does the sheep's blood like symbolize? Like what's the meaning behind?
Lamb
You
of
have to
God, it
kill your
means the
sheep,
Savior.
but like,
So the
do you have to
lamb's
kill the
blood.
sheep?
Well, because they call the Savior the Lamb of God, and
No, I understand that, but
sheep, lamb.
why would they pass over the houses with sheep's blood? Like,
It's symbolism.
is that what it is, Yellow Lantern?
Well, it was what?
So in
Like,
Passover, why did they leave the people who had sheep's blood on their doors alone?
Well, it was the final plague of the remember the 10 plagues that were afflicted Egypt.
I
That
remember the Pepe one. I remember the frogs.
Well, there was the frogs, 3 days of darkness,
locust,
locusts in the crops, raining fire.
river of blood.
Yes, River of Blood. Each one was actually kind of intended to mock an Egyptian deity. So each one, like, there was a god that represented water, the Nile, the crops, the cows, the sky, the sun. And all these plagues not only mocked them, but also the final plague was the angel of death coming as punishment for Pharaoh's continued stubbornness. And God decided to send the angel of death to come into the city and take all the firstborn sons. The only way to
Why not
stop
just
the
take it
angel
from the
of death.
Pharaoh?
Yes, even the Pharaoh. So the only
Well,
way to
why not
stop the
just
angel.
take it from the Pharaoh? Is what I'm not understanding.
No, not just the
Like,
Pharaoh. It was the final plague.
but like,
That
wouldn't you punish the Pharaoh for his actions? Why would you punish like his subjects?
Well, I mean, well, remember the Pharaoh was supposed to be, in the Egyptian old religion. The Pharaoh was also the representation of the God's will. So, by him trying to challenge the will of God himself, God smited him down with this as the final
But
thing.
no, I get why he smited him with the plague, but why did he smite all the other people with it? For not killing the Pharaoh?
Ghost is just basically saying
No,
it
no,
should have.
I'm being serious. Like,
No,
like,
I get your argument. Your argument is like
would
it
the
should have just
people
been
have
the
not
main
been
person.
punished if they had tried to kill the Pharaoh? Like, this is not what I'm understanding.
Well,
I'm not understanding why
this is the
they
reason
are.
why.
What are they guilty of?
Well, this is why it was the final plague. Each portion of Egyptian society kept getting worse and worse and worse, but the Pharaoh would not budge. This one was the final plague that finally convinced Pharaoh to free the Israelites. And
Why
as
would
I
he
was
free them?
saying, the lamb's blood was the instruction, since it was the instruction was from Moses, as well as to wipe this on your floor, on your
Door.
doors and windows, so that the angel of death will see it and it will not take the firstborn son.
But wouldn't he also just know who is and like, you know, Israelites? Wouldn't he just know like, oh, this is Egyptian, this is Israelite? Like, not tell that?
No, well, the Israelites were largely spared, but many of the Egyptians. I mean, it's supposed to be a tragic thing. Like, it's not a good thing that this happened. But it was a showing that, the final straw that, like, do not cross God, the will
So
of
the
God, otherwise.
Israelites were just like, yeah, you know what? Let all. Like, I mean, they weren't all enemies with the Egyptian people, right? Like, I'm sure some of them had friends amongst them. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna let their firstborn die. Not wouldn't they tell them like, hey, do this and you can save your son from this horrible plague after 9 other plagues? Like, did they all just hate each other? Is that
Well, they were slaves.
right? But that's not
They had been
necessary.
captured. Uh,
But like, not everyone was shit to them, right?
didn't
Like, it's
we?
not like black and white, right?
Ghost, didn't we already explain the story of the Exodus and Moses from the
Parts
Old
of it,
Testament?
but I'm just trying to understand like why they would do this thing to the Egyptians. That's pretty fucked up.
Was it punishment for, enslaving the Israelites for far too long and the Pharaoh refusing to grant their freedom?
Right, but it sounds like the Pharaoh's the one in wrong here.
He is the one in the wrong.
But you just punish everyone else? I don't know. That's
I
just weird
mean,
to me.
if you think about it, it's the same people that. No, I got nothing for this.
Okay, I don't know. It's just, that's just weird to me. All right, so it's a Good Friday because Jesus died or something, and Sunday is Easter in the non-Orthodox tradition, and then next week is Easter in the Orthodox tradition, right?
Yes.
So so egg hunt this Sunday. Do you guys get another egg hunt next Sunday? I don't know if you guys do the eggs. I
Do
just
you
want
do the
eggs.
eggs thing in Orthodox, or do you skip that?
Well, I mean, we kind of do. We have an actually a little fun little Easter where we take hard-boiled eggs, a special type, and we have a game where, like, if your breaks over mine, I get, it's a little thing like I get to eat your egg. Like, you ever see like those hard-boiled eggs with the
Yep.
holes
Yeah.
inside? Yeah, so we have a tradition like we crack each other's eggs to see which one breaks first, and you get to eat that one. So that happens actually after. I mean,
So
I'm pretty sure we also have an Easter bunny thing, but it's not like it's more of. I mean, it's not
it's
unique.
more for the kids, if you
Yeah,
think about it.
kids, obviously.
Okay, well that's
Yeah.
cool. I like that. I like silly traditions like that. Those are fun.
Yeah, I like my free shekels that I get every Easter.
Mm-hmm.
Now, can you? All right, there's something I will never understand, and can you explain Peeps to me? Does anyone actually like Peeps? I've scoured the earth. Come on, someone.
I had family. I have
I liked
family
them for a
members like
bit.
my sister and my other and a few other cousins. They like these Peeps, but I just really couldn't get into them
It's too much
personally.
sugar, right? It's just not. I think
There's a
it's
limit.
too much.
It'd be so much that Peter Nemitz would probably, want to ban Peeps as long as the sugar cookies that he hates.
Go away too. Those sugar
The
cookies
problem,
are
the problem with
absolutely
pizza is
poisonous.
that they're too sweet, and but I like them. I just can't finish. You just can't finish a row by yourself. I think 2 or 3 peeps is your limit.
Yeah,
Right.
it's. I can't get behind Peeps. They just don't taste good. I must be so unhumble.
But also, you cut sugar out of your whole diet, didn't you?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I've actually got I've got a local like Japanese barbecue restaurant delivering me just 3 pounds of beef right now. So that's how I'm celebrating this holiday, where I didn't have to work today because well there are reasons why my boss doesn't make me work today, but I appreciate that nonetheless. So
Also, the markets are closed.
yes,
Sorry.
it is a bank holiday. It is a bank holiday indeed.
Except for me, I had to work, and I work for the fucking institutions.
Ah. I do have to say, what do you guys think of what Mr. Alvin Bragg is up to in New York? What are your thoughts on this? Because
Well, since we're talking about it, I have my next piece. I'm gonna briefly touch upon it, considering I'm writing about Confederate History Month, and someone has already been making the comparisons between Jefferson Davis and Donald Trump. But
yeah,
the
but
long story
Jefferson
short,
Davis actually lost his conflict.
Yeah.
But he was actually
But-
in prison in Fort Monroe without a trial for 2 years. And then,
Abraham Lincoln did this to someone?
well, no. He
Was
was
his
captured.
successor?
Well, he was captured in Georgia and was brought to Fort Monroe for like 2 years. But it turns out a lot of prominent Northerners, even some of the abolitionists, they actually paid his bail. And his
Oh.
trial never came because they realized if we try any of these leaders in a court of law, they will probably argue successfully that they had the right to secede. And
Right, and they
we
didn't want
realized
to legitimize it through the court system. So
no,
better to
and
never
like
have that have a
so
day in
we
court.
we just killed over 1 million Americans, including collateral damage from like hundreds of thousands of slaves dying off from disease, starvation, etc.
In
All for
violation
nothing.
of the law.
Oh, and the funny part is that many of the former Confederate states ended up being kicked out of the Union again during Reconstruction and being reoccupied militarily. Funny how that works.
Well, I imagine it wasn't a smooth transition. You know.
Yeah. Well, oh man, the
I
book.
mean,
If you ever,
you had Grant that just laid siege to them to win the war. He was like, "Fuck it, let's just burn it down. We'll build it later."
well, Grant's interesting. A lot of people have been trying to build up his reputation the last 50 years. But I hate to say it, his presidency and how corrupt it was. Sorry,
Well,
it's too corrupt. I feel
Well, that's
like
the problem with Grant, though, is that he was a great general, except he was a terrible president. So
I
his
still think he was somewhat okay as a general. I think there's a lot of Union
I mean,
generals
he
that were
won the
much better.
conflict. He wasn't Sherman. I mean, like.
he won the conflict. So they look at
Won
him
the
in a better
conflict. He
light.
wasn't Sherman. I mean, like against a
Right.
superior military force
There's
with
a lot
better
of-
tactics. I mean, that's
Yeah, he wasn't McClellan or whatever, like the one who gave up. So that's why Grant is like
The
a
funny thing is about
controversial thing.
McClellan, you guys don't realize this, but he actually saved, depending on how you look, he stopped Lincoln from being militarily couped. There was a lot of officers that were disgruntled after the Second Battle of Manassas, and they were just like ready to go and say, "March, McClellan, march with us. We're gonna head up to Washington D.C. We have these brigades. We're gonna overthrow Lincoln. We're gonna force him to resign or else." And
going to save
McClellan,
Lincoln's life.
yeah, and McClellan stood down to them and said, "No, if you do this, I'm gonna have you all arrested for treason."
That would
And he-
literally
his
be
guys back
treason,
him up.
but Lincoln should have been arrested for treason as well. Or
Yeah,
not treason, but, yeah, I mean, that's the funny part. They were it's like, well, your act is treasonous, but like, the act that's going on currently is also treasonous.
Yeah. So, all right, well, let's get back to Bragg. So, long story short, Ghost, it's what Bragg is trying to do is technically unconstitutional because he's essentially assimilating a bill of attainder to try to indict Trump because he's attempting to convince a jury that he is guilty of a crime that not even federal prosecutors say is worth looking is like it's not even
And that
worth.
he was effectively they would decline to prosecute because they knew it wouldn't stand up, right? They knew that they didn't
Right.
have enough evidence, they didn't have the ability.
What Alvin Bragg is doing, and you know what, Ghost? You know what a bill of attainder is?
It's you just say, oh gosh, and refresh me on it. I don't know it offhand.
Well, in the old justice system, a bill of attainder is when a king, a lord, or sovereign of some realm essentially sends you a bill of things and says that you are guilty of X crimes and you will be judged in a court of law. And this happened a lot of times in the colonial era. Bill of attainders were ways for like essentially declaring somebody guilty of a crime without a trial.
Basically, you
And
can punish your political enemies.
Yeah, and it's
Sure.
actually unconstitutional. In
Right.
article,
They specifically
like-
addressed it in the Constitution, if I recall, right?
yes,
That's the
it's
whole
unconstitutional
jury of your
for
peers,
federal
innocent
government
till
and
proven
state
guilty.
governments.
Well, it's like
Yeah,
innocent until
it-
proven guilty. Jury of your peers covers kind of that, right? Like that a bill
Yeah.
of attainder grossly constitutional.
And the thing is, it's 34 counts of the same crime over and over and over. I was
And
gonna make this.
they're all
my
they're
right.
all misdemeanors too. But the
Yeah,
reason
and
that
the-
they're saying it's a criminal felony is that these misdemeanors were done in the sake of committing a actual crime that they don't have to lay out, which is just Soviet in nature. Like, you've committed this crime. What crime have I committed? Well, we can't tell you what that crime is, but we think you're attempting to commit it, right?
Right, and that's the idea that Alvin's trying to get the jurors to convince a crime that keep in mind
They can
federal
arrest you for
prosecutors
anything.
said no, and federal prosecutors have no issue railroading or hunting down people they think are
And they
guilty
have
of crime.
unlimited resources to do this too.
Yeah, and they have a
There's
very
no,
high
oh, we ran out of money to prosecute. No, they will, they'll put you in jail for 7 years for defending yourself. They'll do all kinds of shit to you
Mm-hmm.
because they're the federal government and you pay their legal fees.
Thanks, Joe Biden.
No, it was before Joe, but we all paid their legal fees.
Sorry, thanks, Obama.
That's more Soros and prosecutors he puts in power, but yes, that too. Yeah. So okay, so it's 34 misdemeanors that are supposedly state misdemeanors that are supposedly in the service of committing a federal election crime, is what he's saying, right?
yes, and that's the crimes are all the same. It's more repetitive than a Scott Storch songs by Scott Storch.
Yeah,
That's no
it's like
joke.
record. It's like supposed to be like, oh, you mislabeled your records. It's like, okay, well, make him pay the fine. Jesus.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, make him pay the fine. It's like, oh, well, it's for hush money. One, hush money's not a crime. The John Edwards case, established this very clearly. You can pay off your paramours for the sake of, assisting you in winning the election. That's not election interference. That's literally just due diligence.
And the crazy part is too is that Trevor Bauer just got off of a case similar like this for the horny crime. So I know it's California, but Trump can honestly look at that case to
I don't know
get
if
a
that
mock
establishes a
stopper.
precedent for him. I'm pretty sure the issue is Trevor Bauer, I'm pretty sure, was not railroaded by some imaginary other crime he was committing, right?
Well, Trevor Bauer was that the hush money was enough, and he went too far banging the chick.
Wait, so that's why Trevor Bauer got suspended for a year? He paid some chick not to say that they banged Trevor Bauer?
Yeah, but supposedly Trevor Bauer likes really rough sex,
Oh.
like really rough. Like supposedly the girl left bruised.
That's a complicated issue there. But
Yeah.
As far as I know, President Trump didn't even have sex with this woman and just paid her to shut her mouth. Now, do I believe that? I'd say 50-50. I mean, she's not as attractive as his current wife. And, I would imagine, like, come on. Really? Really? But I could imagine it being like, yeah, shut the hell up about this story. And, I've got an election. I got important shit to do. I could see that.
Mm-hmm.
But she still owes him, what, 600 grand or something?
Yeah.
So like if it's true, if the allegations are true, it means President Trump had sex with a prostitute and got a refund from her. I just want to remind everyone.
It's the art
She
of
was
the
so
deal.
bad he got a 5x refund.
It's the art of the deal. This is how you do it. You gotta read my book, buy my book, the art of the deal.
Yeah,
I tell you how
that's
to
what I'm
get.
saying. Like, look, he got a refund from her, so. And she broke the law, but he's the bad guy. So all right, yeah. So effectively, it's a bill of attainder that kind of matches up, which is unconstitutional. And an important reminder, people are like, no one is above the law, but an important reminder to everyone that everyone in America is deserved the same protections, regardless of how much you hate them.
Yeah.
Like look. You don't have to love President Trump, but look at what they're doing to the guy who posted a meme. Look at what they're doing to the guy in self-defense. They don't really. I mean, they want to put President Trump in jail. They do. They hate him on an emotional level, but that's not all of it. Like they want to put you in jail for wrong things. They want to put you in jail for challenging what they think. Like that's obviously what this is. The point of this prosecution is. They know that. Realistically, this will fail on appeal, even if they get a conviction from some liberal New York jury that also, thinks Donald Trump is
Hitler.
Adolf Hitler and collaborated with Adolf Putin to overthrow Ukraine in some weird harebrained scheme, right? Like even they know that, oh yeah, we could maybe convict him with these guys. It will be thrown out on appeal, obviously, because that's that it will have to go before a very different jury that's probably not going to be the same makeup as a New York jury. But the point of this is supposed to be a warning shot across the bow that, like, don't you ever, 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 ever dare challenge the establishment or those in power currently. Or what was it Chuck Schumer said? We can get you 6 ways to Sunday, the intelligence community, right?
Yeah, and right after they finish dealing with Trump, they're gonna go kill Assange. Let's be real.
Well, I mean, they're probably gonna try to. I don't kill Assange. I mean, like, hasn't what they've done to them almost worse than killing him?
Well, right now they're fighting extradition, and he's still like shitting bricks. Well, I mean, what's worse, for Assange to die in prison in the UK or Assange to die in prison in the US?
They're both bad.
Well, there's been a thing, so I think the reason wasn't like one of the reasons they're holding up is extradition is because of the idea that like the U.S. will apply the death penalty to him on like some of these charges, and the UK who abolished it be like, whoa.
Well, Neon does bring up a fair point. Assange is not a U.S. citizen.
Yeah, true.
But yes, the process is the punishment. That's a pretty accurate description of what's going on with the New York.
Oh, did my Discord just crash?
No, I hear you.
No, I hear you.
Sorry, I'm recording this on my phone and it just randomly blacked out. Hate when it does that. You still
I
there?
can hear you just fine. I hear you just
We
fine.
can hear you.
Lantern.
Yeah.
I don't know why it just suddenly shuts off or just blacks out for some reason.
Because it's Discord.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, it's funny how this Trump news is coming out right now when there's more news on the mass shooter for the school. It's coming out and it's like really bad.
What, that they had a manifesto that they were actively being counseled by the pastor there and killed their daughter in an act of revenge violence? I mean,
The fact that she looked into other shootings and how to do them and was inspired by
she
them.
looked at other schools and she didn't choose other schools specifically because they had armed police there.
No, but she like was looking up other school shooters on how they did it and planned her route that way.
I mean, like, I'm trying to think, like, what's the most? There's not very many successful school shooters out there, you know. Like,
Yeah,
Yes,
let's
what-
not fill. It reminds me of this old like Encyclopedia Dramatica story where like apparently somebody actually had like a very macabre page about the so-called high scores of school shooters, and that person running it became so insane that they himself even tried to shoot up a school.
damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peasy wasn't crazy when he said everyone on that staff is, just as crazy as him or worse.
Yeah. Did she also look? Did they also look up? Supposedly he was looking at the Dark Knight shooting too as like a route and inspiration.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I haven't seen the manifesto has not been released, but I assume that.
Oh, you know they're not going to release that manifesto because of what she is.
Yeah, and the implication.
I think we'll see it eventually. Honestly, like it'll get out there somehow.
But do you think it'll be doctored? I just don't trust the manifesto coming out unless it's like original scans or we can prove it's like from their hard drive.
I don't know. It's a lot of work to doctor. I mean, like, I don't know. It's one of those things that the answer maybe, but I think they'll end up releasing it just because it's too public in the news. Like if there were no knowledge of it existing, I would agree with you more, but I mean, we know it exists, you know. So, yeah, I think we'll see it.
Right. It's not the only case of legal. So what else are the other? Yeah, we have Ricky Vaughn and this recent guilty verdict of the guy who shot the BLM rioter who was pointing an AK-47 at his face while in the car.
I think he'll get off on appeal, but say
I
justice
don't
delayed
know.
is still justice denied.
Yes, this is the same thing, a similar kind of thing that's been happening with, we saw this with the McMichaels. If the McMichaels, Douglas
Well,
Mackey.
with the McMichaels, that thing, unfortunately for them, was not black and white. Not very black and white. Unfortunately, in a legal sense, they didn't have their bases covered. You know.
Unfortunate, but if anyone was to get, I would say my opinion would be if I wanted to give, maybe the guy would get manslaughter and the other two would just get off. But like the problem is we're in a situation where we could point to cases where certain people have done way worse crimes or the exact same thing, but they get off because either it was politically motivated violence for the person who was shot was considered an acceptable target, or there was a viral tweet when
Oh,
someone
really?
said like
Can you give me the example of that?
the Denver person. Do you remember we saw like he so-called like hired security for like a news? He ended up provoking a protester and he shot him in the face.
So he provoked a protester. How so?
Oh, this was so yeah. This was lost in the news. The Michelle Malkin was covering this. Basically, there was a pro Trump rally versus like Antifa BLM, and this hired security person was an unlicensed security for a news station that was kind of infamous for running cover for the BLM
Whoa, wait,
rioters.
wait, 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 wait. He was unlicensed? Why didn't they just get a licensed security person?
Do you honestly think well, yeah, the
I mean,
idea
it
of
says for a news station, right? Like, they have money.
mhm.
Okay, but I'm just curious why they didn't just hire a licensed security guard.
I mean, this is people. I mean, do you really think these people have any respect for laws if they're selectively enforced?
um, I they have legal liability if they hire an unlicensed security
Yeah,
professional that
well,
does something wrong.
but
Yeah, it happened to the
hold
Rolling
on.
Stones.
Well, the point is, this was a case where the DA, the Denver, despite it being captured on video, showing that the attacker. This was the second, and like everyone knows about. They remember when Antifa in Seattle executed somebody. Do you remember that one? Like not in Seattle, but in Portland.
Oh, the Chaz.
Not the Chaz, but in Portland, Antifa. They lured a supporter who was doing like a Trump, and they actually executed him. And it was in the news, and they were able to find this guy because they found out he had a neck tattoo, and he later got into a shootout with the federal marshals and died.
He
You
got
see,
into a
yeah.
shootout with federal marshals?
Well, yeah, because it was a blatant act of. I mean, it was a politically motivated execution.
Bad thing?
Yeah, I mean, you guys got to realize, not only did BLM and Antifa get everything they wanted, they helped essentially fortify an election, if we're still allowed to say that. But you have to realize these people are still intact. All the cells, the infrastructure, it's still in place.
I don't
And
know. The first two guys that Kyle Rittenhouse got, those guys didn't get out.
well, they're fine. I mean, Kyle
I mean,
Rittenhouse
that
got
guy's
off.
missing an
He made it
arm. I
to-
mean, I'm just gonna say, the one guy's missing an arm. I mean, it didn't come out completely smelling like roses.
Well, the problem is they're trying to sue him now for like in a civil trial for like wrongful death or something.
But he can lose in that one technically. I mean, OJ
Yeah.
did. So
Because, like I said, when it's because double jeopardy it's unconstitutional to try somebody for the same crime if they've been found not guilty. But
Yeah.
like you civil to try to get some damages or compensation. But the point is, like, I mean, keep in mind that corporate America gave like $85 billion to BLM to be funneled into, all these campaign stuff for DM, and they'll do it
I mean,
again. The
Kamala
second they
bailed
get
him out of
another.
prison.
What'd you say?
I said the Kamala Harris
I
presidential
believe that
campaign
was
was bailing
someone
out
she
protesters.
was. I think that was someone that was connected to her did that, if I'm not mistaken. But
Yeah, he promoted the bail fund, and it turns out one of the convicts bailed out, went on to later kill somebody. So,
aw, salt of the earth.
yeah, well, you realize the situation is rapidly deteriorating. I think it's much faster, and these recent convictions show that there's just no way to get a fair trial by jury and peers in blue cities because the jurors will have it out for the defendant to the point
So
where they'll lie.
you're saying this will hollow out talent and useful people from those cities?
Well, I mean, it's already been like this for several decades, but
I'm just
it's
trying
just
to figure out
becoming.
where's the bad in this.
Well, the bad is that cities tanking means that they could still become way more powerful than because when you lose the cities, you lose the culture in a way.
But I
Yeah,
mean,
but
like, if
also
people
like
leave those cities, that takes away political power from those cities, right?
Not really, because
Why not?
they'll just engage in old-fashioned political machinery to
Sure, but
retain
you're saying
power.
they're not already doing that? Like, this is already a
They'll
constant,
do it
right?
even more. They'll
But they're
just
wait, what?
engage in
So you're saying
replacement.
that only they're gonna wait until people leave before they actually do it?
Well, the flight from cities is increasing, but it only delays the inevitable because it's only a matter of time before what we see in Austin
But you're
spreads
saying
around.
that they're going to cheat, right? They're
Well, I mean,
going
not
to cheat in elections, but But they're already cheating in elections. Like what? What? But now they're gonna take it seriously?
no, Ghost. What I'm trying to say is that the problem with the cities, besides being IQ shredders and whatnot, is that that
Wait.
dysfunction.
I still need to understand. You're saying that they won't cheat until people leave? Like what?
No,
What?
no, no. It'll just exacerbate the problems that already exist. The more people, like, I get, I mean, I think many cities are unsustainable, from a logistical population point, but the
Okay,
problem
Ra's
is,
al Ghul, but like, yeah, I get that. But like, my point is, you're saying, oh, they'll cheat if they lose their people. Their people are already leaving.
yeah, they're
well,
literally
it's kind of a
replacing them with
treat. I
fucking
mean,
immigrants from Afghanistan and Africa. Which, by the way, how can leftists claim we're a white supremacist nation? We're literally pumping in minorities into their country. Sorry, that's just a little rant. I've been
But I'm just saying that like what I'm not getting it though. Like they're already cheating in elections, right?
because ballot harvesting is still legal in California.
Very legal in California.
uh, the point is, Ghost, is that all the infrastructure that allowed the BLM riots to persist in summer 2020, it's still in place. It's not been like, and many of the cities and people are understaffed for riots of that scale. The only way to stop this is to create, Mystery Grove, who's been tweeting about the
Now,
police, has
now my
been saying
question
that,
to
like,
you is, what's going to trigger a summer of 2020 again?
well, you can see they tried to do that with the Nashville shooter. They tried to, like, say, like, oh,
Who?
Audrey Hale was a victim to this.
Nobody gives a fuck about the trannies, though. Everyone fucking hates them
Geeky,
secretly.
geeky, 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 geeky,
Right.
geeky,
Sorry, too
geeky.
far.
You only get one warning,
Yeah,
man. Come
try
on,
not to
dude. You
get those
can't.
kicked
You
off.
can't say a word. Seriously, man. You can't fucking do that to me, dude.
You
You know
can't. I
you
mean,
can't say that word. You've been here for like 100 fucking weeks. Come on, bro. Don't do this to me.
I
Never,
pulled
never,
I pulled
geeky.
a Dell.
Okay?
My mistake.
No. Come on, man. All right.
Okay.
So,
as I
fucking
was
hell,
saying,
man. Making my job hard.
as I was
Look,
saying,
so you're
they
saying they wanted to
want,
start a big riot over a person of, a person with a
you
mental
know,
illness murdering a bunch of people, or trying to force gun control by a person with mental illness killing a bunch of people, right?
well, no, they want a martyr. They want they saw what happened
They
with
want to
George
make
Floyd.
the person that
We
killed a
need
bunch of
martyrs.
children a martyr.
That's
Well, it doesn't have to be that, but
But I mean, that's what you said, right? They want to martyr this person just killed a bunch of children. Are you saying that they want to martyr someone that murdered a bunch of children?
they just want anybody that they want their.
Wait. Yes or no? I mean, I mean, yeah, I don't disagree. They want a martyr, but I mean, do you think they want to get someone that just killed a bunch of children as their martyr?
They don't care. You saw what they were chanting in Tennessee. They said, "Oh, 7 victims," and I'm like thinking, "Wait, 7? You're, you
I
know, I
mean,
can't,
wouldn't you agree that the seventh person was a victim?
I mean,
no,
Not of the
because
there's
that's the
still
shooting, but wouldn't you
perpetrator.
agree the seventh person was a victim?
A victim of what? The
Victim
you
of,
know,
an ideology? Wouldn't you say that yourself, that that person's a victim?
even so, that doesn't really excuse.
I'm just telling you, that's what you believe, right? You believe that person's a
I
victim
don't.
of a deranged ideology, right? That tells them that they can be something they're not, and that, like, wouldn't you
That can
agree with that?
understand. It could, it would explain their actions, but that in no way justifies them.
No, and
You know,
saying someone's a victim doesn't justify anything they do. You
no,
know,
but the whole point is the mobs that these people have assimilated. All the people who've stormed state houses carrying the same message.
was it only
They're
Tennessee that got stormed?
didn't they fire like a couple of the politicians that were part of that quote unquote insurrection?
yeah.
Yeah,
So
like
three
Texas just did that
legislatures
too.
were on the vote to expel. Two of them were evicted. The last one basically had a faux apology, and when later on she
So they
tried to
forced
turn it
them to
back.
apologize.
No, the whole point is the third one was like some Nashville representative or like from around that area. She basically claimed that she was sorry for her actions, and apparently that was enough to convince some of the GOP reps in the state house not to evict her, which I think was a mistake. I think she should have been evicted because she then tried to turn it around and said, "Oh, you see, they evicted the two black legislatures, but not the white one. Clearly, they're all racist." And I'm like, I would have said no, but then again, you're out too. And they're just trying to like turn
Telling me
Tennessee
they
like.
actually apologized?
Well, it was clear that it was not sincere. I think she should have been expelled. I think she, as well as the other ones.
Why should they have been expelled? Because they stormed a proceeding and interrupted a government function or something?
Well, they were the ones who organized all those protesters storming the Tennessee legislature while it was in session. And they not only that, but they also broke a lot of rules for decorum as well.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would say organizing a protest at a federal function does sound like it breaks a lot of rules of decorum. Okay. So they
Here,
fired two of them.
I mean, to be honest, I see why. Like, it's clear, nonchalantly expelling, that's a good, no fundraising emails, you don't make a public show. It's just simple. Your badge access is suspended. You're not getting in this building. You can't vote. You know, oh, you're gonna talk, here's some Hatchman lawyer reading you the riot act. You gotta, you do have to push back and punish these people who organize such tactics. If you don't put a stop to it, you get a situation like which caused the Russian Revolution and eventually the Civil War. Plenty of opportunities to, end all the madness and stop the Bolsheviks from plotting over. And in the end, the people who could have made the right decision just didn't have the courage or fortitude to just say no, and they could have ended it there and there would be no Russian Civil War. But it didn't happen. You got to contrast
Was that
this.
simple though?
What'd you say?
Was it really that simple though?
Well, I mean, it's a case of like it's not like some Spenglerian hour of decision per se, but it is a case of like certain decisions not being made and critical errors in that decision making process that led to the catastrophe that was the Russian Civil War. For example, all the Bolshevik leaders plotting to overthrow provisional government, some officers got wind of this and they went to Kerensky and said, listen, we gotta arrest these people. They're plotting to overthrow you. They just tried to assassinate some of our officials, and Pokrinski was like, no enemies to the left. It's a democratic process. Hopefully they'll vote these guys out. Of course, then they didn't get voted out. They just the second they got a slight majority, they immediately revolted and took over St. Petersburg, took over Moscow, and that's when it was all downhill from there.
I see.
And you have to consider, you saw what happened at Stanford Law.
That was
You
that the
hear about,
professor with the Halloween costumes, or which one was that?
yeah, wasn't that a blast from the past? But no, this is a different thing. So a federal
Is this
judge
like
was invited to give a talk about law and decision, and what ended up happening was the dean of students organized a mob to shout them down and to harass him
Stanford a
and stuff.
private institution?
No, Stanford's like one of the most premier law schools in the country.
No, but is it a public or private school?
It's public. Stanford Law. It's like one of the
I
elite
thought Stanford was a
universities.
private school.
I think
What?
Stanford is private. It's not a Cal State or UC.
I mean, the distinction of public-private. Stanford obviously receives several funds and shit, but I don't think it's a
Yeah.
state institution. But I think that's why. Let me check. Stanford University a private? I think it's a private school.
Yeah, I think it's private.
I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Well, the point
Yeah,
is,
it's a private school.
yeah, it's
Which is
private.
why they don't have necessarily as strict like First Amendment ruling about that, right? Because a public school obviously would be like, oh, holy shit. Private school,
Yeah.
holy shit, what the fuck is wrong with you? But I don't have the same.
The result of this resulted in some of these judges reconsidering, saying, you know what, we're done. We're not going to hire any law clerks from this university anymore because of that outburst.
Well, I mean, that's on them. You really.
Yeah, and the whole thing, all they did instead of the dean, the dean should have just expelled students who participated in such a mob, as well as fire the staff members who organized. That's what you do. Because
why would he expel them? Have they broken rules?
Because that's how you defend free speech. People who violate, attempting to shout down the judge who was giving a speech, being egged on, they were violating, their code to uphold free speech. So I'd be like, well, if you're not going to, you don't belong here.
Yeah. No, I get that. I agree with that. I would expel students who did that too. But
yeah. I mean, and keep in mind, some of these deans were some of this vitriol was so nasty. They were wishing the judge's daughter was to be violated sexually, all sorts of really, really gruesome threats that I don't feel comfortable spewing out on your channel.
Yeah, no, it's no, thank you. Imagination can probably cover.
Yeah. You basically have to, you have to destroy their capacity to do this kind of stuff. You have to carry, if it were to me, you want to stop people, you expel them from official responsibilities, you take away their funding, and if businesses are patronizing their work, suspend their business licenses. You got to keep going to the source until these people just can't.
You can't do that to a
think,
private school, though.
No, it is a private school. I understand that, but I'm saying though, I think those are the right decisions to make. When power in
Yeah,
any way. You know, you have to. This is how you fight back. There are reasonable ways to fight back that don't involve, okay, we all put on Hugo Voss and shoot people. You know, realistically, there are ways you can strike back against, anti-human practices like this in moral and ethical ways. That don't force you to violate,
mm,
violate reasonable principles. Yeah, no, I think those are all reasonable solutions. Now, as far as like what they have to and don't have to do, like it is a private school, and that private school has extra latitude, right? That state schools don't have. But by that same token, federal government and state government don't have to. They don't have to engage with them in a fair manner. If they're not engaging with citizens and protecting their rights and respecting their rights as well. So yeah,
yeah,
I
you
think
just have to. This is a proper application of force, and to show, hey, say if you're not going to respect the rules laid out by the institution, and someone complains, we're going to take a look and see if you're, we have to expel some people as well as punish. For example, when that crowd at if I were in charge of the, let's say I was in the positions when the University of North Chapel Hill, North Carolina, when they pulled down Silent Sam, the statue, immediate punishments and expulsions to the point where for the next 3 years, their school sports records would be vacated. It would be straight zeros. That would be my punishment.
But
I would
that's a
say they
little,
should at
you're
least.
just showing your bias though, because that's like your thing.
Well, no,
But
no tolerance. It's zero tolerance for that kind of
no, but you're acting more on emotion because you support like Confederate statues and shit. But like, would you feel the same if it was a different statue or anything?
No, if it was a statue of Union soldiers, if it was it was the same thing. You really have to cut down on these people and start expelling those who promote like such kind of actions.
I don't think Yellow Lantern is would is. I think you even if it's like a statue of like Martin Luther King or something, you'd still be like, no, you shouldn't pull down that statue. That's wrong, right?
Right. I don't like
Whether or
him
not you
myself.
agree or disagree with his policy recommendations or what he said, like or the concept of civil rights, and how that shreds the Constitution, right? Like whether or not, it's like, hey, no, no, no. There were people either people agreed to put up a statue. It's a public work or it's a private statue that someone holds. You shouldn't tear it down, right?
Well, even then,
I mean, even then, like, yeah, that's a statue of Stalin. It doesn't belong in Seattle. I'm not going to cry if it gets teared down, but I don't think someone should tear it down. I think it should be,
well, I hate to say statues of Martin Luther King in America are basically like statues of Lenin in like Russia or other former Soviet countries. It's the same type of figure, the person who basically founded a new type of nation.
it kind of founded a new religion, more or less.
Yeah, the American civic religion itself. Which I would say, Richard Hania, for all his bad takes and whatnot, he's tried to make the argument that the American civic religion is a result of American civil rights law being applied and every facet of life, the strong implementation of it. And this, the promise fulfillments and all the things, not only have they not come to fruition, but have gotten worse, has created sort of a runaway feedback loop. You get what I'm saying? Like it's like,
Back loop. Go on.
it's like, so one example of this progressive cycle of behavior is like when they notice a problem, they give the wrong answers. So they decide instead of like focusing on a particular group or something, which would be illegal because that's considered discrimination, they decide to, make life more inconvenient for everybody to accommodate for the problem one group is having. It's like it's the same thing how do I let me pull up an example. I remember I saw it like yesterday. Let me find this. Um It was a pretty revealing like example of. So basically, this exchange is our. It's like the mystery is like you notice a problem caused by misbehavior of a certain group. Therefore, you come up with a workaround, and then the workaround is seen as offensive, and then you apply that workaround to every situation, which makes everything in our society worse off. You know what I mean?
Saying addressing problems by trying to address it for the lowest common denominator is not a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
By making rules based on the, you know, worst is not a
It's
good
the same
idea.
thing. It's like the idea that diversity is saying, let's bring a bunch of
But I'm
people.
just saying though, like you're saying, applying these solutions isn't a good idea.
Well, it's essentially it's the wrong solutions that basically miss the entire point of the problem, and instead of addressing it, they just decide
Being
to
a
like.
problem usually, especially around violent crime and other things,
Hmm.
is that people use violence on their children and they enact violence on the rest of culture, and you make it impossible to criticize people who are committing violence against their children, and then when their children go and enact violence against other children and on other people when they grow up or even when they're children. You're
Well,
kind of trying to you're addressing a symptom of disease that started, when they were babies, basically. You know, hit
so
kids, they don't react
what
well
I'm
to
trying to
that. But
say
it
is
tells
like
them that the way that you solve problems is by hurting other people, and that enacting violence is an act of love because someone who loves you is hurting you to try and teach you to do the thing they want you to do, right?
well, I think you're going a little off, but so let me give you
How is that
so
going off? I mean, that's pretty well tied links to violence and hurting children to later life
well,
committing violence.
you were getting a little for my example. What I was trying to say before I gave my I saw there was a tweet that got ratioed with someone complaining that certain sections of the liquor store were locked behind glass doors, or like they were locked up behind it. If someone wanted to purchase it, the employee would have to come out and unlock the glass door with a key and then give it to the customer. And they said, "Oh, this is systemic racism because this means, it's because they assume that these are the drinks that they serve Hispanics, blacks, other minorities, so therefore it's evil." And someone would say,
I don't think I've ever seen them lock up like alcohol like that. Lock up the expensive alcohol.
well, it's the idea.
Like
It's like
you got like a $200 bottle of whiskey. Like that's what goes in the lock thing, But the
Yeah.
$10 bottle of tequila, that's right out there. Like at least in my experience, seeing like liquor stores, it's the expensive shit that goes down there. You sell that for 80-90% of its value pretty much anywhere.
yeah, it's just
It's why
it's a
spray paint is locked up, but more so because don't want a kid to pick it
Graffiti.
up and start huffing spray paint. That
Or
one's like a
graffiti.
safety thing. I don't know. So you're saying that they were ethnically targeting groups to not have stuff stolen, but I don't know. In my experience, it's always been expensive shit.
Yeah.
well, the point
Because
is
if like someone steals a bottle of beer, like it's like yeah, that sucks, but that's not much. But you steal a $200 bottle of liquor, that's a big it's a big hit to your margins.
the point is, because of this inability to discriminate or try to like, because if you try to do a workaround of this, the workaround is called something evil, and then you get like a civil rights lawsuit on it. If you notice,
Yeah, I mean,
this
it sounds to me
demographic.
like if someone did that to your business, I would just leave that city forever and never operate in there.
Mm,
And like, like that's
I know,
the
but
only reason. That's the only logical solution is no, we can't operate in this city. Find some other sucker to do it.
I know, but
You know.
it's the quality of life
Yeah,
dropping
well,
down.
I mean, until the citizens decide they don't want to live under that quality of life, their fault for electing people that appoint those prosecutors. It's like, oh, sorry, you're gonna have to suffer.
It's just, like I said, can you?
Like, I mean, eventually those cities will hollow out. It'll take decades. I mean, this is what happened to Detroit. It's hollowed out in a shithole. And people don't live there.
Yeah.
People don't aspire to go there. Businesses don't open there. You know, it's a dead city.
I don't know, but it didn't have to be like this. The
It
whole
kind of
point of
does. It kind
I
of
think
unfortunately does. I mean, like, people who want power will seek power. You know? Like, it's just the way it is. Like, it's like, hey, look. Their will to power is stronger than these people's will to have a functioning city. You know, the people who have will to power will succeed. And the people, smart people will leave. And, the rest, they won't try to fix what can't be fixed,
yeah, it's it's a tough situation. Requires a revival of sort of the spiritual and cultural change that once made cities great and glamorous.
And probably will happen, honestly. There'll probably be enough pushback. The pendulum might swing in the other direction.
When does it ever, though? Sometimes you just, that's kind of a thing. Sometimes you just get crushed and the pendulum never comes back.
Well, I think what you have to, you have to start at minimum. Just you have to be a wrench, Throw a wrench in the system. Throw sand in the gears wherever possible. It's not glamorous. It's not sexy, but at the end of the day, I mean, that's unless you want to go die in some revolution that other people aren't going to join you in. I mean, at the end of the day, the most important thing is to have a family, have children, and build a better world for them. And unfortunately, that better world is not going to be in Chicago. It's not going to be in New York. It's not going to be in the cities you might have grown up with or, heard stories about people aspiring to move to. It just, unfortunately, won't happen.
I mean, it's a shame because, you
Oh,
go
it
to a
absolutely
city.
is a shame.
If you go to like some of the cities that used to be great, that used to be, um, before the 1950s and 60s, you could walk you could walk it relatively safe because, you could run a city like that, require a lot of, but basically you'd have to undo not only a lot of all the legislative initiatives from the post 60s era, but it requires, how can you attract the old demographic back that's moved away?
I don't think it's that
Well,
simple.
yeah, because you still got to deal with the homeless.
Well, I mean, the
Yeah.
homeless, like, that's just... The homeless are a result of people not enforcing the law. It's basically just like... If you don't make it comfortable for people to live homelessly, they will not live homelessly in your city. If like
It's
every
like,
time they show up and you just say, "Hey, no, we're shipping you off some town that doesn't enforce or respect the law," they're eventually going to get tired of it and they will leave. Like the homeless problem is very easy to solve. There are many very easy solutions to solving the homeless problem.
right. And the thing is, a lot of the homelessness was created by somebody. The whole thing, like Skid
Ronald
Row.
Reagan.
Well, even Carter also had a blame, but also,
Oh,
you
I'm
know,
sure Carter has to blame too, but
a lot of
Ronald Reagan
socialism.
banned institutionalizing people.
Mm-hmm.
He did, and look, I get it. I understand, it's you shouldn't be allowed to be placed in places against your will. I think constitutionally, that is the correct move. But I also understand that, you should be allowed to be institutionalized as soon as you commit a crime, or a misdemeanor or a felony or something that takes away your basic protections of rights. So if someone goes and, is exposing themselves publicly or doing just indecent things, well, guess what? You don't have those same protections of rights that you did before you did those things. So, it's a complicated mess. It is. But, Ronald Reagan didn't, like a lot of things he did, I think his heart was in the right place, but I don't think he was
Yeah.
very
There
clever.
have been people trying to assess, did Reagan actually lead a conservative revolution, or was there a lot of Potemkin Village style conservatism?
Gonna have to define that word. Potemkin village style
No,
conservative.
it's like so Potemkin. The whole idea of this is like a fake display. It comes from uh, what was it? So the term of Potemkin,
The actor Mandy Patinkin.
you know, it's based on a facade. It's what it is. A
So
Potemkin
you're
village
saying
is like,
that you're saying the conservative revolution that Reagan led appeared to be conservative, but actually was only meant to appear to be conservative, not actually be conservative.
yeah. I mean, he did like roll back some stuff.
Would an easier example there say be like a North Korean supermarket,
Yeah, it's a facade.
right? Like, yeah, oh look, we have food here. Well, probably not really, but you know, we have to.
Yeah,
We're
it
showing
comes
you that
from
we have food.
this term actually comes from. Actually, there was a governor. Um, it was named after like a Russian governor who was in office from like the late 18th century. That's where it came from because he ruled the southern provinces with like, he fixed them up to make them look much better than they really were.
But he didn't actually solve the underlying problems. He just made it appear better.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, it made it look like he made it look like it was.
Do you know anyone who worked as a waitress in the 70s or 80s?
Actually, yeah, I do know some people.
Oh, tell me, what's all of their criticism of Ronald Reagan?
Well, one of them said he didn't. One of them said like she moved from California because she didn't approve of the amnesty that led to California essentially being turned from a red state to a blue state, because a lot of the amnesty just didn't stop the illegal immigration. It was part of a deal supposedly, and surprise, there was no reciprocity on the part of the Democrats
Are you
when
saying
Reagan.
they got Joe Manchined?
Yeah, yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, don't worry, guys. I'm protecting the coal, oil, and gas job. What? I've been bamboozled. Who would have thought they would not follow through on their portion of the deal once I gave them my vote? Oh, it's amazing. Shocking, right? But yeah.
Yeah, right.
No,
It's just
but I'll
the
tell you the answer I always get when I ask for criticisms of Reagan from people that worked in the service industry. He taxed tips.
hmm.
You know that he introduced taxing of tips. Yeah, the great. I am. No new taxes. I'm a great conservative hero. Oh yeah, by the way, you who make like the least, your tips are taxed now. Your gratuity, the slight portion of wages that you get from people that are kind enough to pay you extra for your service. I have just institutionalized basically this tipping practice and forced them to pay it, because now if you don't tip, not only are you screwing them over, but for tax purposes, it's assumed that you were tipped for that job. So you've got to pay that tip. You got to pay that tip tax, regardless of whether someone actually fucking tips you. So again, thanks, Ronnie. Thanks for fucking people over on that end. But yes, the amnesty bill was also terrible, as every amnesty bill has.
Some examples. Like, I don't think Reagan was like a bad president, but I just think like what he had to work with, it really couldn't live to the full potential. I mean, yeah, he oversaw like you know, the expansion of the Cold
Collapse of the
War.
Soviet Union. I mean, you know,
It's
there were
funny because we actually
positives.
came very close to nuclear exchanges a few times during his administration.
Blessedly,
He'd
we
have been
did
a
not.
yeah, and he'd have been a crack supposedly.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, I mean, the hard part about that is, they say we were this close to a nuclear exchange. Is like, who's the historian telling the story? And I mean, like, how really close were we? And like, what were actual communications looking like, right?
Yeah. And I think the worst. It's hard to assess because Bush most of the presidents we've had after him have all been various degrees of awful in some ways. I think I remember reading a book, Nine Presidents Who Screwed Up America, basically saying, like, listen, the administrations of both Bushes, Clinton, and Obama, they basically are all the same. Like, it's all the same exact kind of, same exact sort of corruption, not holding up their oath of office to protect the Constitution, various other things.
It would help if Congress had any spine in the last 20 years.
Yeah,
Willingness
instead
to
we'll
make hard decisions. You think about like the authorization of military force and all that, and just like, oh well, it's not our fault if the president decides to go invade this country in the Middle East or this. Oh no, we authorized him to use military force. Like, what?
yeah.
What world was this a good idea? Oh right, the one where you don't have to politically answer for anything that happened. No, it's I think we would all be a lot better off if there was a lot more courage in the world.
And not the cowardly dog that we all love.
Actually, I think we'd be better off with more Courage the Cowardly Dog. I like Courage the Cowardly Dog. but yes, I meant the trait of courage, not the
Yeah.
not,
Still,
not the lovable.
Yeah. Did you ever see the crossover they did with Scooby Doo that just came out like a year or two ago?
They did a
yeah.
crossover?
Yeah, they did a Scooby Doo Courage the Cowardly Dog crossover.
So, I have not, and honestly, I feel like that was not a good idea, and let me explain this. So, Scooby-Doo is kind of like an ensemble cast, right? Like, like Scooby's like this, Scooby and, Shaggy are kind of like the central points in ways, but really, you got everyone else, Velma, Daphne, Fred, and all them. Courage is kind of, he's got Eustace and Muriel, but really, it's Courage who, pulls the weight, pushes the story forward in those episodes.
Mm-hmm.
More or less. So, how was this crossover? I'm curious.
I mean, the original creator of the show actually had nothing to do with it.
Oh.
Strangely enough, like the original Courage the Cowardly Dog. It was weird because it's like this crossover could have worked, but I think could have been better executed, in my estimation. I mean, it was kind of cool to see some of the character interactions between Courage and Scooby-Doo, because it's like,
did they like babble at each other in like their incoherent dog language?
well, I mean, Scooby-Doo could be understood somewhat,
true.
but sometimes
Yeah.
Courage could speak English. I mean, it's kind of weird. He became less, I noticed he became less able to say, words as the F series went on.
Wait,
It was
Courage
just,
or Scooby?
or he got less. Is it just me, or did he get less lines of dialogue as the show went on?
I'm trying to remember like when I watched and when I stopped watching, but I do remember him speaking, and then like whenever he'd try to speak to Eustace and Muriel, he would always just be speaking gibberish.
Yeah.
Because it'd always be amusing to watch him try to convince them that they're in grave peril.
Yeah. Uh,
Ah, shut up, you dumb dog.
yeah.
Um, but
I'm still laughing at people are still memeing in my Discord about that meme with Ruby. Oh man. Just when I think I see the end of those memes, more stuff arrives. You guys know what I'm talking about? Geeky. Have you seen that show?
I have not seen Red versus Blue or whatever, Ruby, whatever thing.
Yeah, well, I think the joke is it's it's because of it's the context of both what's been going on with Rooster Teeth ever since they got hit with the scandals and such.
that was the
And
stuff with Vic Mignogna and Monica Rial and all that.
well, not just that. Later on, they ended up getting like shakedown by employees who were like treated badly.
Didn't Drew Wario work for Rooster Teeth?
No, he worked for Channel Awesome. You know, the Nostalgia Critic and all his other like League of Super, Nostalgia Chick, Todd in the Shadows, those other people.
Was he part of the Struggle Snuggle rap?
Yeah, well, you guys remember when Mr. Medicare covered those,
I
a
do.
lot of these guys back in like 2017? And then a year later, the change to channel happened where a lot of these people, they left and they ended up like saying the reasons why this happened.
Was it because Drew Wario was a rapist, right?
Well, I mean, that was a side thing, but it was just complaint with the management, how how bad all the stuff, like all the drama from behind the scenes, being treated not well as a content creator, having a lot of, having the people going around, it was a lot of things that culminated in this whole thing. I didn't know if anything came out of it. I think the guy stepped down or something. It's kind of weird because Channel Awesome is still around, but it's kind of like a relic of its time because back in the day to get big on YouTube, you had to be part of networks like the Polaris network that Total Biscuit was on,
What
something
network
like
was
Channel.
PewDiePie part of?
Well, PewDiePie was an exception. I mean, he was the guy. I remember way back in the day, the whole reason he was able to get popular was because of his international appeal or something, like his way the algorithms changed.
So basically, he got in ahead of time
Yeah.
and was able to fully foment that.
Mm-hmm.
What do they call it? First mover advantage.
Yeah, it was the kind of thing, and this was when YouTube was way less censorious as well. When it was less, I mean, it's kind of funny is that YouTube had an interesting glitch back in 20. So there used to be a thing where videos would be uploaded based on just views and the clicks. But what happened was there was a case where people would have suggestive thumbnails. You may remember this, Ghost, if you've browsed YouTube back in like 12 years ago. There would be like suggestive thumbnails, but it'd be just clickbait, and
And it'd be a
people
video
would,
about something completely different.
yeah, and then they would just leave like just a few seconds after the video started, but it counted as a click. So then after this happened, YouTube changed the formula to say, okay, videos based off retention are going to be promoted more, not like just clicks and views. So like if people who watch the videos of these uploads, if they watch them through and through, they get promoted and more clicks rather than just regular run of the mill, um,
Content.
clickbait stuff. Because people got rickrolled back in the day. I mean, that was the thing. People would get spoofed out by like fake trailers of games and stuff. This happened for a while, and these videos would get popular because people would just click on it, realize they got fooled, and just click off or leave. But that click would just count.
And then it would get promoted in the algorithm because lots of people are clicking onto this video.
Mm-hmm.
And the cycle would continue.
Yeah, and the whole thing. So what was happening with Rooster Teeth and the show in particular well, back to what we're going at. The funny thing is, around a few years ago, Rooster Teeth started trying to pull in a lot of easy money and cash, so they tried to expand their thing into other properties and franchises. Most of them ended up not doing very well, and it just led them back to square one.
Remind me, so Rooster Teeth is an anime localization company, right?
They didn't actually start out like this, so they were started off as literally guys in their dorm. They were just, making a show. They were making like the Halo game show where they're like, hey, let's if they realize, wait, we're playing Halo Combat Evolved. When we look down, the character model is still looking up. If we have this, guns down stance, we could just make a skit like these people are talking, and that's where it got started. You could see like the very of its time jokes and stuff. I've heard rumors that they removed some of the older jokes they had in Red vs. Blue, but I can't verify that.
So they were Machinima Studio originally.
No, they weren't even Machinima. They were they were Machinima. Like they weren't part of Machinima.
You know
Network.
what I mean by Machinima, right? Not like they were but they took like video game footage and just audioed over it.
Yeah, the people who
humorous situations,
right? Yeah, Halo 3. The Halo games were like some of the best, to use for Machinima because of the way you can make the character models talk and act without having to animate them.
Well, they're all wearing helmets.
Yeah, of course, later on, they started animating them. I think it was, which one was it? Was it season 8 where they started, they were using Halo 3 as the game, but they started including like original animations into it.
I see. Well, I mean, we all know from the Overwatch 3D industry that there's a lot you can do with a 3D model you have access to.
Yeah, most of the time when it comes to Overwatch, it's spent on making pornography.
Well, yes, that is true. But
I like how
what else are you supposed to do with a well-proportioned female character model? Like seriously.
I like how they announce a new character that's like called Blossom, and it's like, okay, what controversy did Blizzard get into themselves this time?
They pull a Powerpuff Girls name.
Let's pull out the bingo chart, shall we?
Yeah, And I looked at this thing and I'm like, really? This this character looks like a discount Marluxia. No, it's Marluxia. That's how it's pronounced in English. It's actually in the Basque language, in Galician and Astoria, the X makes a sh sound. So that's how I know it was.
Well, I mean, there are some English words that use the sh sound with X as well.
Yeah. It's not a very common pronunciation, but that's how it is taught in those languages. So that's how I subconsciously knew that's how it'd be pronounced. But anyways, that was the other thing. So yeah, Rooster Teeth. The point of this meme was that, listen, the Ruby show, I mean, it's not the worst show that they've ever produced, but it's been kind of on a creative spiral tailspin because sadly the original creator passed away in 2015. They had already written out all 3 seasons, but
well, I'm sure they faithfully executed upon the plan he left behind for them, right?
Apparently they had the story I mean, they had the storyline kind of written out for like 12 volumes and had plans and all this stuff, but I think they've deviated from some of his concepts, which is a shame because, he was a talented guy and this was basically his passion project.
What is the show about?
Well, since you haven't watched it, well, first of all, congratulations on making much better choices of your time than I have.
Oh, don't worry, man. I've never made good choices with my time.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've seen all of Naruto. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's not like that's not a waste of time. I mean, Naruto it's a good show, right?
I loved watching. I watched it with my dad too. We had a great time watching it
Yeah.
together.
I mean, it's
But no,
I
no,
know
I know.
it's
I'm
not
just,
like
I'm just being facetious.
compelling.
It's not high art, okay? But yeah.
It doesn't need to be. You don't need to be. I mean, that's why I like the Mario movie, which I'll get to that in a
Oh
sec.
yeah, we will definitely get to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I agree with you as well. It's not high art. Geeky unfortunately did not see it, so we will have to
Well,
be spoiler
spoiler
free and then kick
free.
him out for 30 minutes to explain spoilers.
Uh,
Yeah.
we'll just no. We'll just keep it spoiler free for his
Okay.
sake.
Yeah.
When do we want
I
to
mean,
get to?
the only other thing I want to talk about the Star Wars Celebration announcements. If you guys saw those yet?
Oh, the trailer for hopefully the final Indiana Jones.
Oh, I didn't give a fuck about
That one's been out.
No,
That trailer has been around a while. So the final Indiana Jones movie. Is
The
wait, is it
Dial of
final?
Destiny.
it's final one with Harrison
So-
Ford in it, at least.
Oh well, yeah, because Harrison Ford will be dead by the time they make the next one. Like, look, I like Harrison Ford, but like, come on, age is real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't keep. Sadly, some of these actors they pass away or retire. You know, Rutger
Caveman
Hauer
that
was.
vomited on a wall is better art. It's not any art.
Yeah, but the real news is that a certain actress is coming back to get some more movies, guys.
Oh yeah, Disney,
Amber Heard?
right? Right. Daisy
No,
Ridley.
Daisy Ridley. We're
Yeah.
getting Ray movies. Again.
What? Daisy Ridley?
Yep, we're getting Ray movies.
No, you're telling me they're Daisy Ridley, who said famously, "I'm done with this shit forever," is making more. Oh. You have to be kidding.
Directing her movie, by the way. How bad it is.
Wait. You're punking me, right, Geeky? Come on. There's no way.
No. This gets worse. You know who's directing her movie?
Ryan Johnson? No, it can't be Ryan Johnson. Come on.
Actor who did the Miss Marvel movie.
Who?
Charmin Obaid Chinoy, and her most famous project is Miss Marvel and Saving Faith.
Okay, so what do you mean they're making Ray movies? Is it gonna be like episode 10?
We're getting 10, 11, 12.
No. No, that's not happening. Come on.
That's that was announced today. Daisy Ridley is going to be making a Ray movie taking place after The Rise of Skywalker, directed by the same person who made Miss Marvel.
Come on. That's no.
Do you want me to post the article? You don't believe me?
No, I believe you. I just don't want to believe you.
Hey, but it makes you feel better. Dave Filoni gets a movie.
So I need a moment to myself. Ah! All right, I'm back.
Yes, and we're getting a movie made by Dave Filoni, and we're also getting James Mango just making a movie, who's the creator of Logan. So we're getting 3 Star Wars movies.
Oh, really? Oh, and side note, apparently another. It looks like I got to add another name to the list of IPs that EA has ended.
What, is Mass Effect over?
No, Alice Asylum. Some kind of some IP studio or something.
Yeah. And
All through the
we're
coffee
getting
dance.
yeah.
Yeah, there's been a lot of studios that get like shut down after they bought. Let's see. Visceral Games died in 2017, bought in 2007. Playfish bought in 2009, died in 2013. Pandemic Studios, people who made the Battlefront games, original ones, bought in 2008, but perished a year after. Mythic Studios, these are all these studios that have
Love
died
Blade
under.
Runner, Neon.
Yeah.
No, EA kills studios. Was it Irrational they killed too?
Irrational, Mythic Studios, DreamWorks Interactive, Black Box Games, Maxis, Bullfrog Studios, Westwood, Origin Systems,
Jesus Christ, those are good studios, dude.
Phenomic Studios, Visceral Games, I just said. Oh man, the list could go on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did they kill Respawn?
No,
Not
they
yet.
can't kill something that just keeps respawning.
Remember that, Geeky. True gamers never die. We just respawn.
True. And we're getting live action Star Wars Rebels.
Wait, say again?
We're gonna get a live action Star Wars Rebels, by the way.
I'm interested.
hmm
Huh.
And we got a trailer for this Ahsoka show, which will start in August.
Okay.
And they're already saying if it does good, they'll do a second season of it. So, translation, we're getting 2 seasons at least of Ahsoka.
Oh, okay. I mean, honestly, I'm curious to see what they do with Ahsoka. I assume it'll die with her getting killed by Kylo Ren. We know for a fact
I don't know if that makes
she's dead.
I don't know if that makes Kylo Ren look better or just makes Ahsoka look worse.
It's both.
Wait, Kylo Ren's supposed to kill Ahsoka?
I mean,
No,
she's
no.
gonna die, though.
We're just speculating. Is that's how Ahsoka will meet her end or something? It'll be something really stupid like that.
Yeah, something dumb.
Yeah, and then Andor Season 2 comes out next year
2024.
in August. And then we're getting like a new Star Wars show called Star Wars Acolytes.
Could be. That could be good. I don't know. We'll see. They have that Korean actor. Who he was familiar. Set between the High Public and the beginning of the prequels. Well, I mean, at least it's a time period we haven't explored, but
Yeah, other than in books. But
they had a whole bunch of the Rebels cast there.
Yeah.
Ahsoka will be in August.
Yeah, I'm just surprised they finally gave Filoni a movie.
Yeah, we'll see if they give him any funding too. So there's no release date set for those 3 films.
Yeah.
Right.
Third film about a new Jedi Order, with a Jedi Academy led by a powerful master. Well, we know it can't be Luke fucking Skywalker, because he decided to fade away for no reason. God, just kill me. Just actually kill me. No, you know what it's gonna be? It's gonna be fucking Grogu. Everyone think, oh, it's gonna be fucking Rey as the new Jedi. No, it's gonna be Grogu. Okay, Grogu's gonna be there. Honestly, I'm kind of okay with that.
And Daisy Ridley is going to be a cameo in the background.
You really thought I would come back to Star Wars? You're dumber than you look.
I mean, the real rumor is if John Boyega ever shows up in another Star Wars project, I will be in shock.
Honestly, I liked his character. They just did nothing with him. He's just like, he's there for no reason, you know? It's just like, okay, who are you? Hello?
He's literally 3 different characters in 3 different
In
movies.
every film. He's a new guy in every, yeah, but Okay, we could suffer enough about Star Wars. So where is this trailer for that you told me about? There's a trailer?
Yeah,
For
it's called
Ahsoka?
Indiana Jones and the Dial of
Oh, so
Destiny.
it was just the Indiana Jones trailer. I've seen that. I've seen those trailers.
Well, wait, there's a
Okay.
Ahsoka trailer today too.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
there
that
is.
one.
Yeah.
Oh.
All
Let's
right.
let's watch that, shall we?
Okay.
Probably not. Let's watch for a live action Star Wars show that Dave Filoni's going to have a massive heart on for.
I'm not gonna share it on screen because Disney will kill me if I do that. But I will share
Yeah,
it in
the mouth.
Discord.
What's this doing my content? Huh? Sorry, you laugh.
Mute the audio input because I'm sure they'll copyright strike me for that for some fucking reason. It's a trailer that's publicly out and available, you monsters. So good.
People would have hated Ray.
No. Yeah, but let's watch this.
The Disney Star Wars stuff.
All right, let's see what they have to offer us with Ahsoka this August. Trending number 1. Red Lucasfilm. I think that's live action Sabine. Yep, because that's Hera. Chopper. We've seen Chopper before. It is Sabine. Oh, very cool. That's a good pick for her. Mon Mothma. The actress they're using in Andor as well. Yes! Which is the name of the book. I know. So she's gonna be fighting Inquisitors. Well, technically she's not a Jedi. Oh, I'm gonna say like that. That looks good. I mean, I'm sure they'll fuck it up somehow. I'm curious who the dudes with the red sabers are. Like, I mean, as far as the trailer goes, like, oh, that's cool. We're seeing a bunch of Rebels characters. No, you know what? No, we're gonna recreate the guy seeing the Force Awakens trailer. You know.
Yeah, we're gonna be
Yeah, but I mean that's like in an Ahsoka story. That's kind of all. That's kind of what I want to see. You know, like some live action Rebels characters. That was cool. See Hera and Sabine live action. Chopper, of course, has already been in Rogue One. Hera was mentioned in Rogue One. Okay. I mean, she gets to fight Inquisitors. I don't know who the white-haired chick and the fat dude are, but I'm curious to figure out why they have reddish-orange lightsabers. Because those weren't red sabers, right? Those are like orange almost. Yes, you're gonna have to watch Rebels with us, Geeky, to understand who Sabine and Hera are. Because all you saw of Hera in Clone Wars, she was a child in Clone Wars, and she's one of the main characters in Rebels. Actually, hold on. I gotta take a piss real quick. I'm gonna let you absorb what we saw.
It's a shame because I think are all great. It's just the execution that's just not very good, and even the relationships it tries to build up are just not. They're forced.
So,
It
Yellow
doesn't.
Lantern, I hate to interrupt, but I have a thought about
Yeah.
who the fat guy is.
Fat guy
Did you
from where?
from the Ahsoka trailer? You know the guy
Yeah.
with the red orange lightsaber? You know who I think that is?
Oh,
Do you
Taran
remember?
Malco.
No, I think it's Saboeth. Oh God, the old dark side Force user in Heir to the Empire. You know the one. You know.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
I
what I'm
know.
thinking. That might be because if they're doing Thrawn, right? Clearly they're gonna do before. They're gonna do during Rebellion and post Return of the Jedi is what I think they're gonna do. So I'm thinking that's gonna be Saboeth or whatever the fuck his name is.
Oh, I mean, do they really have to keep ripping off legends or like
Yes.
readapting the story?
I
Yeah, I
hate to
guess
say
so.
it, but I think yes. I think the answer is yes. I don't think we have a choice if we want a
Right.
chance of a good story. I don't like it any more
Sadly,
than you do.
yeah. Anyways, guys, so the last thing I'm gonna head off pretty soon, but the last thing here's what we thought of the Mario movie.
Oh yeah,
Just our
yes.
thoughts. And because you
So
haven't seen it, Kiki, this will be spoiler free.
do it spoiler
Okay,
free.
because if not, I was about to jump off right now.
All
No.
right.
We're gonna keep spoilers out of it.
All right. So my first of course, video game movies have been very hit or miss. They've been hitting more than they've been missing though in the last few years.
Yeah,
You know what
I
I
agree
mean?
with that. What did you think of Prince of Persia?
Prince of Persia. I haven't seen that movie though, but
Because
I've
I
heard it was
actually did
okay.
like it. I was shocked. I was like, oh, it's good. Okay, sorry, but don't mean to derail that.
Well, I think that movie would be easy because Prince of Persia is. It looks like
It's
it.
cinematic in its
Yeah, it's
nature.
cinema. Yeah, but
Cinematic.
this.
Slow mo is an active part of the gameplay. So normal storytelling crutches make sense in the context of it.
Hmm. Yeah. So the basic plot. So now I have already seen. I've actually had a rare occurrence. Said this is that this is a rare occurrence where I've seen two back-to-back animated movies that were really good. And I like the movie. That's just I'll get right to it. I saw the Puss in Boots, The Last Wish. I
I
like
heard
that
only
movie a
good
lot.
things. I heard only
Yeah, it
good
was
things
Same.
really,
about it.
it was really good. And um, and this movie, like I said, my expectations were like, Nintendo's overseeing it. Shigeru Miyamoto is getting input.
He's
The
an
voice,
executive producer, man. He's like
yeah,
he's working at the top level on this.
yeah. And it was, they would say, "Oh, this story is Paper Mario thin." I'm like, don't insult Paper Mario.
Their
Some
Mario
really
games are
great
great.
stories.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. So like,
Yeah.
okay. One of them, one
Did
of the
you see
Paper
the
Mario.
one news article? It was like the game has all the charm of an unplugged Game Boy. Is someone gonna tell him that it runs on batteries?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was okay. That's just journalism being petty as always.
Yeah.
But the yeah, so I mean, it's exactly what you expect from a Mario game. I mean, the first trailer for the movie, that is the first
Penguins.
scene.
Yeah.
The penguins, which are just as funny. I mean, they were
It's
funny
cute.
in the yeah,
It's cute. It's funny, and I like it. I like that whole scene because it establishes, that Bowser isn't just like a giant bumbling buffoon. Like Bowser's actually a competent like warrior and villain, right? Like, just
mhm,
like, yeah, whatever. You just threw snowballs at me. I'm gonna go now burn down your castle because I can do that.
yeah. You know what the best thing about the movie is? It's the soundtrack. I was
It was good.
amazed.
Oh,
I was
they
amazed
excellent.
at I instantly recognized almost every single song that was
Yep.
in the scenes.
Every
And I'm like saying
melody
the melodies, and I was like, "Oh my god,
when they're
these guys
in
did their homework." Like
when
they
when they're
Oh,
in
go
Kong
ahead.
Kingdom, when they play hit here we go, when they
Yeah,
start playing the opening to the
the
monkey rap,
yeah.
I was like, yeah.
And I was like, "Oh my," and like the first music you hear is actually the airship theme where I'm
Yep.
like,
The
"Okay, these guys
dun
dun da 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 da."
dun dun
They even got
dun.
the
Yeah.
drums. And I'm like,
Yep.
"Okay, they know what they're." And and then I could hear like certain scenes like, "Oh my god, that's Super Mario Galaxy. That's Paper Mario. Like that's from Mario Kart, or these are." And I'm like
Oh
saying,
yeah.
"Oh my god." Like, and it's
Constantly.
instrumentalized. I'm like saying, when this soundtrack of this movie comes out, I am getting it. If they get a soundtrack, because I'm
I
like
think they are.
literally, yeah, of course they will. But I was like amazed. I'm like, wow, like all the references are even if you didn't get some of the jokes and all the stuff, it's still a
Well, when they
charming
took the
movie.
secret warp pipe behind World 1-2,
Yeah,
that was
that
great.
was
I was like, oh my gosh, it's
oh
1-2.
yeah. It looks like Geeky just left.
I
Like,
think he's.
did he back out because we might have said something spoilery?
I think so. But yeah,
Okay.
no, when they were in 1-2, right? It was like because they go down the pipe, they get sucked out, and it's 1-2, and you're like, oh, I know what's happening here.
Yeah.
They were
And
playing
it's
Luigi's
interesting.
Mansion theme when he goes into the Bowser
The
Castle.
Darklands. Yeah, the Darklands. Which is actually, like I said, it's not really spoiler because they showed the trailer, him fleeing from the dry bones, only to, only to get stuck in a castle that's literally captured and controlled by Bowser.
The herd of
And
Yoshis that went by while they were out there. I like that touch because, as you know from Smash Brothers, various other things, that's how Yoshis travel. They run around in herds.
Yeah, and it's quite a few attacks also in games. Just pick that, the Yoshi Stampede and
Yep.
all that. What I was actually amazed is like just, and let me tell you something. The marketing
Are
is a
we
little
soy
deceiving.
facing hard? You know it, Neon. I'm sorry. It was
All
a
right.
good movie.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, it's what you expect too. I mean, Chris Pratt is good as Mario. Taylor Ann Joy, really good as Peach. Jack
She
Black
was
as
good as Peach.
Bowser.
I didn't love the way Peach's character was written, but I thought she did a good job as Peach. I liked her origin story though. I really liked her
Yeah,
origin story. I thought that was really sweet, and it made a lot of sense. You know that like, oh yeah, she's just, you know, why are you the one human in the mushroom? Okay, it makes perfect sense. Yeah, they found her. They thought she was cute and made her their
yeah.
princess.
I'm
That sounds like
surprised
something Toads would do.
Yeah, I'm surprised Toadsworth wasn't in the movie though. I think that they're
Yeah. Was Toadette in the movie? I'm sure they were somewhere in like the crowd somewhere.
yeah.
But
But there was a lot of cameos. I mean, a lot of cameos if you notice too.
oh yeah.
And the best part is like, I mean, of course, Jack Black as Bowser. Wow,
Oh, he
did
was
he?
great. He was great
Oh,
as Bowser.
he was every scene he was on. He was chewing the scenery.
Come jam with me. That's so great when you start playing that. It's like the da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah,
Oh, that was so good.
yeah.
'Cause I
And,
know Jack Black, he's like kind of obsessed with music to some degree as well. And that's why I was really, you know, I mean, because he was doing like big super cringe Lord Bowser there, and it was like it works because Bowser, you know, Bowser's like a giant spiked turtle monster, but he's also, you know, he's also a clown too.
yeah, he's comically serious.
Yeah.
And the best part is just the references. I'm like, you know, I was like, as someone who's played my fair share of Mario games, I could understand all the references and all the stuff. And well, if Kiki's here, I guess we can go to spoilers then. I guess if we can, I suppose.
Yeah. I guess he's not gonna be here. Yeah, we go with spoilers.
Yeah. So I really like that they took the idea that the plumbers are from Brooklyn, live action. There was a cameo Polly, and how they found the Mushroom Kingdom and stuff was really, I like, intuitive. And of course, the brothers were separated, and Luigi is the one who needs to be rescued.
I think if
Versus,
this does well enough, they might spin off Luigi's Mansion movie.
yeah, we saw King Boo in the cameo when, um,
Well, he was there at the wedding.
yeah, the
I loved
one,
King Babam being there.
yeah, King Babam. There was a lot of cameos, and the enemy types, like the levels they experienced and all the um yeah, so you got references to games. And I think the best one was, you know so there's a deceptive market. You see, it turns out like the marketing portrays Peach as like the girl boss, but in reality she's actually pretty supportive of Mario. Like there are, you know it's pretty clear that she likes him immediately when he introduces himself, albeit in a clumsy manner, because Mario just, I actually think this is actually interesting. Like, I'm kind of taking, because Mario and Luigi aren't very talkative. Normally, they are, but it's something about the way they act. It gives them their personalities, and I think something I really realized is that Mario typically doesn't have that much of a personality in many games. You know what I mean? Like, because
Yeah.
Luigi's known for being cowardly, but like the Luigi's Mansion games give him some like interesting thoughts. Like, I remember the original Luigi's Mansion. When you could like scan an object in a room and Luigi will have some commentary on it. It's
I
like
do
those little
recall.
details, those details that give Luigi. Mario got some too, and his character arc I think is actually pretty interesting for someone like him.
Yeah,
It's
I
someone who,
liked everything. I liked everything with Mario. I liked his whole, he was very, protective older brother, with Luigi, like, yeah, you gotta stop being scared. And then his uncle, hey, man, I wish you just wouldn't drag your brother down with you. Like, what a dick, uncle. What a dick,
yeah.
seriously.
And it's weird how like they establish like he's reluctant to eat. He doesn't like mushrooms, which
Oh yeah.
kind of hurts me because I love mushrooms. I love mushrooms. I actually someone I get mushrooms on my pizzas. I like getting mushroom toppings on my Italian food whenever I go to Olive Garden or someplace. That's actually mushrooms are like one of my favorite things to eat, which is ironic, I suppose, but.
It was very funny though. It was just like, mushrooms. Do I really have to?
Yeah. And I mean, they kept it pretty lore. Like, yeah, these power ups are good for you, but if you get hit, you lose them, which is I
Yep.
think pretty consistent. I mean, that's consistent with the lore and all that.
Oh, that's exactly how they work.
And of course, you have to get the right power up, otherwise you turn into Mini Mario, which was that
Yeah.
was
When he
like
turned into the Mini Mario, that was hilarious. Oh no.
yeah. And the same thing. I mean, I instantly knew he was going to turn to Mini because it was a blue mushroom. I'm like, oh
Yep.
no, I know exactly. I know exactly
I
what
know
he's.
where this is going.
Yeah.
Wait. Right.
Yeah. I did like the it was cool seeing the Kong family members there too. I think I saw Diddy Kong, Dixie Kong.
Diddy was there. Chunky was there.
Yeah.
Dixie was there, but no Lanky Kong and no Tiny Kong.
Or Funky Kong.
No, Funky. So Funky Kong is on Rainbow Road when they're going to Mushroom Kingdom. He's in one of the cars. Let me find you the shot.
Oh
of him.
wait, yeah, I remember.
I would
Okay.
have thought Funky would have been building them vehicles, but who was the guy they met? I thought he was Donkey Kong Jr. But
Cranky Kong. Oh, the chauffeur when they get to the Kong Kingdom.
yeah, who's that when he shows up?
Don't know.
Here's where is he? So yeah, he appears in Super Mario Brothers movie. He's shown driving. Yeah, here's the shot of him. He's
Which people in Mario Kart are just waiting to play that character again. I mean, what you taking your bets? Do you think we're gonna see the what was I thinking? Do you think we're gonna see Funky Kong playable in like the last couple of DLC packs for Mario Kart Deluxe?
possibly, but I don't know. It's possible to happen, but I'm not sure.
Huh.
I mean, look, I like Funky Kong, but I grew up playing DK64 and those games, so like I have very fond memories. But I don't know. I mean, there are other characters. I'd rather see Gino, but I know that's probably not happening.
Huh.
Gino is
Right.
very cool.
We gonna get anyone? We got any Super Mario RPG lovers in the chat over here? Do we?
So
you
good.
know, somebody out here has probably played that game as well.
It's a pretty excellent game.
Yeah. Only collaboration between SquareSoft, now Square Enix, and Nintendo. It's kind of funny. Gino was a cameo in the original Superstar Saga as well.
Yep.
Then they replaced
Absolutely
him.
was.
Yeah.
But nope, couldn't get the rights to his own damn character because technically Square owns some of that own damn character.
Yeah, and intellectual property isn't exactly a thing you can share nowadays.
No.
You
It
have
can be
permission.
done in other countries, just not ours.
Yeah. Can't wait to see. You ever been to some of those markets in like Asia and it's just like all the like you look
Stolen
at this
property.
yeah.
Yeah.
And there's just some hilarious stuff like you want some Hitler ice cream? You ever seen
Strange
those?
collaboration, that's for sure.
Yeah, Umbrella Corporation logos. there was a Hitler 2 fashion store. I thinking, what happened to this? Means there was
What
there was
happened to
an,
one? We all know what happened to one.
Yeah.
Okay. He shot himself in a bunker.
Yeah, or fled to Argentina, depending on who you ask.
Depending on which story you believe, that's true.
Yeah, but that implies that
Personally, I
there are
think he
another.
died in that bunker, but you know, anything can
Yeah,
happen.
yeah. I mean, he's long dead anyway. So, oh God, man, Madonna looks awful.
So Madonna sings that song like a surgeon, right? Or
Like a virgin
okay.
from the 1980s. Oh my God, she looks hideous. Let me show you a picture of what she looks like now.
I don't think will I turn to stone if I see this?
Uh, no, but you probably would wish to be stoned after you saw it.
I don't do drugs, but I'll take I'll take the risk.
Yeah, take a look.
What?
Yeah,
She looks. Oh my gosh! Why would she wear those sunglasses with that? Oh my god! She's so fat. Her face looks so fat. What?
keep in mind, she's almost 65 years old, and
I know, but she looks ridiculous.
she looks as twisted on the outside as she is on the inside. I'll tell you that.
I love the guy behind her though. He looks like, what did I just see? What was that?
Yeah, it's like, what horrors did I get myself into?
What's the saying? Man-made horrors beyond your imagination.
Yeah.
Um, here's where Funky Kong is. He's back and left of Donkey Kong.
Yeah, I see him.
I'm surprised wasn't able to point out Candy Kong.
Yeah, I see Candy Kong. I see Candy Kong. I see some of the other ones. Yeah. So the conclusion is okay, the plot is of Mario movies pretty simple. Bowser going on a tear through the Mushroom Kingdom. He captures the Penguin's King and he takes their Power Star. Mario and Luigi are starting up an upcoming plumbing business that is, they quit the guy from, bonus points if you know your SNES history, because Wrecking Crew was a game where the Mario Brothers were playable characters as well. They're treated as jokes, and unfortunately, when they get hired on a job, they screw it up. Well, they don't screw it up intentionally. What happens is the people
They have
they
a
own
cute
them.
encounter with a dog that Luigi crosses.
Yeah. And they actually fixed the leak. I mean, they're
Yes.
actually good at it, but the problem
They're
was
actually really good plumbers. That's the thing.
yeah. But fate happens, and funny is the dog almost dies a few times, and they actually save the dog.
Yep.
Ironic. And the funny scene where the bathroom's totally ruined, the dog's stuck in the toilet, and it was like, well, I think I see it. Fix your problem. That was funny. Yeah, this film actually got quite a few good laughs out of me. And they used a lot of, I noticed for the pop songs, they used a lot of 80s songs. If you noticed that, they used
I
a lot
wouldn't
of
have recognized them, but did they do like "Take on Me" and
they did I Need a Hero.
Yes.
Yeah. Who was the one who sang that? No, I keep thinking of the version from Shrek 2, which is an amazing movie too. The way the fairy godmother sings that, and side note, the funniest part of that is where she says C minor, put it in C minor, and just like, it's being played in G minor. Come on, I know music theory. I know my notes and have perfect pitch. That's not C minor. That's G minor. But I digress.
C minor. Is that what they got Jeffrey Epstein on?
No. This is the musical joke.
What
is it? Yeah. Jeffrey Epstein's favorite musical key, A minor.
C minor. Oh, A minor. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Prince Jeffrey, no, or whichever, or Prince. What was
Prince Harry.
Prince Harry, no.
Oh boy. Okay, so back to what we were saying. Yeah, so the movie is exactly, the brothers, they see an opportunity to try to prove themselves after their family meeting, which is actually a surprise, that's
I
actually kind
liked
of
Charles
interesting.
Martinet as their dad.
Yeah.
Original
Yeah,
Rosenbauer. He was also Giuseppe. And I
yeah.
thought Giuseppe was Jumpman originally. I thought, like, oh, that would have been funny, have the original voice on Jumpman. But it was just Giuseppe.
Yeah, Giuseppe, the other Mario brother that most people don't know about. Yeah, it's actually interesting to see. Like, we've never seen the Mario Brothers family in most
Yeah,
media.
no, that was interesting. The whole family there, eating all the Italian food and being extra Guido-y.
Yeah.
Baba da boopy. Yeah, it was just like, oh, come on. You believe in me, Dad, right?
Yeah. God, Soprano memes. I could think of that scene. That would be hilarious. Sorry. I like that. I like The Sopranos. And, there's some good memes from that show as well.
I don't think there's anything wrong with liking The Sopranos. I mean, like, I wasn't, like, dreading finishing it. I was like, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good.
It's just, I just like some of the scenes that are like for memes. Like, I don't care what it is. In this house, Christopher Columbus is a hero. They had this meme. They did the first thing. I don't care about her sister or what if she said came off his horse. In this house, Ruby Rose is a hero. She said nothing wrong, and she told him like it is. Again, related to the recent Ruby meme. But anyway, so yeah, they think they can settle the score. They're going to try to fix a major blockage, but they ended up finding the place in the
yeah, because after they screw up that job because of things beyond their control, then the whole city is flooding, and they're like, they don't even know what they're doing there.
Yeah.
They dive into the sewers with all their gear.
Yeah.
The sequence when they run over to that first house they want to go fix up.
Yeah.
I like that, where Mario's like jumping around and opening the door for Luigi, it's like, oh, that's cool,
Yeah, you saw the
Luigi's...
castle burgers. I mean, you know what they were going. They wanted the audience to start chewing the scenery as well as with the characters, because it's like a platformer. It's like Wrecking Crew. It's
exactly.
And the funny part about so yeah, they get stuck with the leak, and then they find the Mushroom Kingdom entrance, but sadly they get separated. Luigi unfortunately heads into the Dark World.
Lands, and Mario ends up in the Mushroom Kingdom with Keegan-Allen P's Toad.
Yeah.
Which I thought he did a good job as Toad. Because, like, I didn't even recognize his voice, his normal voice. I was just like, oh, he did a really good job doing that Toad voice.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, so, well, Mario has smooth sailing in nice sights. Luigi, unfortunately, does not.
I loved the Shy Guys. I love how creepy they made them, and this how they're taking him away in the clown copter,
Yeah, but there was actually a nice scene. You saw a flashback with Luigi. That's a good way to include Baby Mario.
Oh, when they were babies, yeah. The guy comes, breaks, because he's building the big castle, right? Luigi sees the castle and he's flashing back. Like, oh, I like building things, And Mario was just like, hey, you leave my brother alone, like, because he's Mario, he's he's a take charge kind of guy. I really liked the Baby Mario, Baby Luigi sequence. I thought that was really good.
That was a good way to include it. Have it as a flashback. And of course,
I liked at the end, when they're waking up and you're thinking, oh, they're back in Brooklyn. Nope, they come right out of the Mushroom Kingdom,
Decided to make their permanent residence, and that, I guess we'll get to that final battle later. But the gist of the movie is that Mario arrives. Turns out he's trying to learn how to be a hero, in which a montage, because you could tell so Peach is a competent ruler. But she's not like girl boss. She's not really like that. I think the marketing only played it like that just to make sure. But in reality,
She's compassionate, you know. She's compassionate feeling, you know. She understands like how Mario feels, you know, like oh hey, you know, you're having a hard time doing this, you know, but like hey, you know, I'll
she
be
doesn't.
helpful and supportive. She cares about her people, you know, like hey, I want them to get away because Bowser's gonna steamroll half the city.
Well, not just the city, the entire Mushroom Kingdom.
That is true too. No, I thought that was all really good as well.
Yeah.
I like Luma
Kamek.
Lee. Honestly, I thought they did. That was a
The
really
Luma.
fun character to see the Luma.
The Luma acting like getting philosophical as well as
We're all
kind of
gonna die.
quite a nihilistic. Nihilistic
Yeah.
Luma was not on my checklist.
Yeah, it was
Because,
not on
you
my
know,
bingo board either.
Of course, that implies the existence of Rosalina.
Well,
as well
Rosalina
as-
definitely exists because whenever they look out into space and they go, "Oh, hey, you know, it's a big galaxy out there." Hint, wink, wink.
Yeah, I wonder.
Uh,
I wonder if that's gonna lead to anywhere.
Yeah, But-
You know, the good news is, if this movie is all successful, what are the chances we get a Super Smash Brothers movie? Oh
so
God,
I think no. I think
no.
that's.
Okay.
I
'Cause
think
then
that's
it would-
too much of a licensing nightmare. You know.
Oh yeah, because we got a lot of non Nintendo characters in there too. Like,
But
let's
here's
see.
my prediction. There's going to be a Super Mario Brothers sequel,
Oh, definitely.
and it's going to have Kirby in it. I think they're gonna go into space, and they're gonna meet Kirby.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Kirby by himself can carry a movie. But I think, you know, Donkey Kong was interesting, right? Because Donkey Kong always was a Mario character, right? So, like, it makes
Yeah,
perfect
but-
sense for Donkey Kong to be there. But I think they're going to have Kirby, and then they'll tease, like, something with Link, and they might actually spin that off into, like, a Zelda movie.
Oh man, a Zelda movie, that would be interesting.
Yeah, they could have there's a lot of ways you could go with a Zelda movie. But that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking they're going to go into space, and there's going to be a connected Nintendo movie verse
Yeah.
that's going to happen.
I think what's
because-
cool about and so yeah, the movie is exactly what it said. You know, Mario and Luigi go to. They realize we need to get the Kongs on our side. We can have our army, and there's a funny battle where he fights DK,
That
son
was
of Cranky.
hilarious.
Yeah, of course they don't like each other, but they end up warming up to each other's. They have showing respect. You know, they create their cards, custom stuff.
I liked Fred Armisen as Cranky. He was good.
Yeah. Who was Donkey? Oh, Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong.
Seth Rogen. I thought he did fine. I
Yeah.
think Seth Rogen was fine as Donkey Kong. You know, obviously I would have rather seen like Idris Elba, but obviously that can't happen.
Yeah.
Could you imagine? Like, look, I know everyone will accuse you of being racist for just thinking that, but like, come on, you telling me not have like Idris Elba's cocky English accent, you know, talking to Mario?
Yeah. That would be funny.
It would be funny, but
Yeah, so they end up trying to get a jump on Bowser, who at this point has taken Luigi hostage as well as others. And it kind you know, it's interesting to see because you know, in typical fashion, you know, Peach is the one who needs to be rescued, but this time the movie played it so that Luigi is the one.
well, Peach needed to be rescued at the end too. But
Yeah, she
yes,
needed some
Luigi was-
assistance, but yeah, Luigi is the. I mean, which actually makes sense because if you remember the original Yoshi's Island, Luigi was the one that was kidnapped, or at least, like, you know, Kamek was trying to get both of them, but only got Luigi. Am I remembering that? You know, I'm getting that right, right?
Yeah.
Anyone who's ever played like the Super Mario,
It's about Super Mario World 2, right? Yoshi's Island.
yeah, which is
You're Yoshi with baby Mario, and you have to keep Kamek and his goons from kidnapping him.
yeah. Oh God, getting hit. I like this one animation where it's like Yoshi's just throwing everything at to get Mario back, like trees, plants, piranhas, giant eggs, giant shy guy. Eventually gets him back. I
Yep.
figure a lot of players can relate because, you know, if you lose Mario, you lose a life.
Yep, you game over and have to start over again. Ugh.
Yeah, and there are some, there actually are some hazards that are insta kills as well.
Spikes and whatnot. I mean, spikes are insta kills in most games.
Spikes, lava, certain enemies. I try to do 100% of those games. Oh man, I can never
Oh,
really do it.
God.
And the speed runs, of course, are kind of cool. You see all the tricks, the egg shots, the angles to memorize, and apparently you're supposed to try not to get a bonus. You're trying to
Because it goes slower, right?
yeah, you waste time doing a mini game, and apparently there's certain calculations for that as well. Certain ways to jump through the hoop, just so you can land on a not a flower space, and just the bosses, and just Trihex, of course, is the most famous of the Yoshi Island speedrunners for his display, especially that really cool
Trihex?
trick. Trihex is like a streamer. There was actually an emoji of him, but apparently they removed it because it was like, oh, it's racist because every time there's a Trihex's face, like every time there's a black streamer, they'll post that Trihex because Trihex is black, so they got rid of that. It's like when they got rid of PogChamp because of January 6th. It's like some of the stupidest decisions.
Wait, they got rid of PogChamp?
Yeah, because there were live streams of that event, and when they stormed the Capitol building, they entered with, now we know, with police some help. People were spamming the PogChamp emote, or it was appeared on a couple live streams, and so Twitch got spooked and just removed it. But yeah, anyway, Mario.
What was it? What was it that Razorfist said? If you ever have the misfortune of committing a mass shooting and murdering a bunch of children, please pray that CNBC will cover your story.
Oh, yeah. I probably think that would be what. So. Anyways, so the Mario movie, yeah, it's exactly what it is. Yeah,
Mario goes on an adventure, goes to the Mushroom Kingdom
yeah,
to assist them in dealing with a giant red-haired turtle.
yeah, and the low point, of course, the second act near break is when they try to get the jump on Bowser's army, taking the Rainbow Road with the carts, but they're ambushed because Bowser got warned ahead of time. Some cool action with the Rainbow Road and the cart stuff. I like the Mario Kart 8, sort of, because that was in the music as well as the anti-gravity mechanics. But yeah, unfortunately, even though they defeat one of his top lieutenants, he takes him out with them because it turns out he's a blue shell.
Yep, he's a spiky blue Koopa, which may shock you.
Yeah, it's a spiny shell. It's like, there's no way to avoid me. I'm like, dang, they should have had the super horn. Could have easily avoided, or another mushroom.
They had a super horn.
Yeah.
No, my one weakness, the super horn.
Yeah, or a mushroom, a star. There's actually quite a lot of ways you can avoid the blue shell. Not being in first. And
yeah, well, there was kind of a big multi-car pileup going on there too.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah. So the Kong army gets captured as well. And
where were you, Yellow Lantern, when Koopa Terrace blew up Rainbow Road?
I don't know.
Sir, there has been another bullet bill.
Oh no! Oh no!
Mrs. Princess, there has been another bullet bill. Could you imagine?
Mario Kart number 7 didn't blow up, didn't collapse on its own.
Rainbow Road Highway 7 didn't collapse on its own. Just let that be known.
Oh, I just had a funny joke. So Mario has a dialogue. It's like, I didn't know we didn't drive on rainbows back in thing. I'm like, well, problem is if you do a burnout on a rainbow, you're treated as a hate crime. Yeah, you've seen those people, there's like a pride flag painted on the road, and so people don't like seeing it, so they do a burnout on it and they get charged with a hate crime.
I mean, that's protected expression.
Yeah, well, blasphemy law, of course, but I digress. But so that they get capped, DK and Mario get swallowed up. Unfortunately, as they manage to survive the blue shell, but they get swallowed up by underwater. But they manage to escape with some creative thing, and they get back to the Mushroom Kingdom, where Peach and Toad initially try to confront Bowser, but she surrenders and agrees to marry him because that's what Bowser's always wanted. He thinks I could just brute force my way, kind of taking a page book out of the Super Mario Odyssey kind of
I
plot
still
line.
love the one Toad that asks, "But sir, what if she says no?"
And gets, yeah, that was a funny plot, and just immediately gets incinerated and turned
Yeah,
into a
it turns
dry.
into a dry bones. Yeah, I love it. Sir, what if she says no?
No.
Anyway,
Yeah, that was a good. That was a
you know,
funny
like
line.
the Piers Morgan meme. You know, it's like, well, that's unfortunate. Anyway.
Anyways, oh no. Anyways,
Yeah. Oh no.
yeah.
Anyway.
So it's revealed, of course, Toad, she has an ice flower and a bouquet. She calls off the engagement as the chaplain buys a lot of time, and she uses her ice flower powers, which is actually cool. Nice to see that power up, get to see some limelight. And as
The
this
cat
going
power
on,
was funny.
yeah. So both,
Ow.
DK and Mario fight their way up to the airship.
It was cool to
And
see DK use the fire flower.
yeah, and of course they both, they managed to, Mario gets the Tanuki suit and manages to.
What is that? I love that when they just go like, "What the heck is that suit?"
Yeah, and manages to rescue his brother as well as the Kongs. He makes of course, Bowser decides to basically activate plan order. And what is this? What's that term for like when they basically hits the nuclear option, fires a giant bonsai bill to destroy Peach's castle. Mario manages to trick it into flying, following him, and then getting stuff into the pipe, which blows up the gateway, which unfortunately drags Bowser's
Them into
castle,
Brooklyn.
yeah, into Brooklyn. Where that's a very interesting choice to have the Mushroom Kingdom, like that world, collide into that, into the Brooklyn. In which, you see a final battle, Luigi.
It's kind of nice because the way it all ties together is that now, Mario's a hero in both worlds. The Mushroom Kingdom
Yeah.
had his own world. He gets respect from his parents, who, if he told him this story, like, yeah, I saved a princess from a giant turtle. Like, son, stop eating those
Yeah,
mushrooms.
they see it, and of course, the climax is that Mario, unfortunately, has no ways to defeat Bowser and gets beat up pretty badly. But thankfully, with some help with his friends and Luigi overcoming his cowardness to help Mario in the final battle, both of them get the Power Star, and they both give Bowser the thrashing.
They have a cool Dragon Ball Z Power Star fight.
Yeah. Yeah, and they see that you see the references. And they defeat Bowser, they turn him into a mini thing and capture him.
Yep, they give him a tiny shroom.
Yeah, and it's like Mario's like, I always told you I'd buy you a turtle.
I'd get you that turtle.
Oh, I just had to. Yeah, that was well deserved. And of course, they're heroes. He saves Brooklyn, and it turns out Mario and Luigi are now residents of the Mushroom Kingdom.
Walk out of there. They walk out of there playing Mario music.
Yep. And yeah, the funny cutscene. Bowser is playing piano while he's locked in a cage, which that's a clever Big Boo's Haunt reference. I feel like, I know that wasn't the intention, but you could say, oh wow, it's like Big Boo Haunt, where the mansion's in that tiny, the world was in that tiny cage that you jump into.
Yep.
And of course, there's a nice, when you stick around for the nice music and all this, you come to the end, the final cameo.
And who's there?
It's
Yoshi's hatching.
Yeah. And not just Yoshi, but probably the main Yoshi.
Probably Yoshi.
Yeah. So where do you think they can... Oh, man.
I think they're going to bring Kirby into the sequel. I do.
Yeah.
Because Kirby himself can't really carry a franchise, but Kirby, in concert with Mario and them, I think could be a really interesting, like, weird character. What is this guy? Wow! And I feel like Illumination would be happy, to draw, like, draw Kirby in there, and they would have a lot of fun with the character. That's
Yeah.
personally my prediction for where it goes after this. Is just okay. We Kirby, and we go into the stars. We meet Rosalina. Peach is jealous of Mario because Rosalina is mysterious and attractive. Stuff like that. They can have fun with that. Lots of fun with that.
Right.
Where do you think they're going with it? Do you think they're gonna do like Yoshi's Island, or maybe some of the Yoshi stories?
Maybe. I mean, it would be interesting to say, oh, what if they bring a couple more characters? Because Bowser is taken out as a threat for the time being.
But Bowser will be back.
Yeah. Do you think we'll see other Mario characters like Princess Daisy? Well, actually, I don't know because I don't think she's been established yet.
I think it's very likely we'll see Daisy. I
Yeah.
actually do. Daisy's kind of an outlier in some ways.
Yeah, she's only been in like one mainstream Mario game, and it was on a while, like it was on obscure console game.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a tough one, honestly.
Yeah.
I
You
don't
think we'll
think we'll
see-
see Daisy.
You think we'll see Wario and Waluigi?
Yes. I think we'll see
Oh.
Wario. And I like Charlie Day's recommendation. Let's get Danny DeVito to play Wario.
Yeah. Who would play Waluigi though? Oh, that would be. I feel
Someone like
Waluigi.
Nick, like a Nick Kroll, someone like that.
Yeah.
Kind of foreign, kind of like, grubby. I think Nick Kroll would make a good Waluigi. That's what comes to mind. If this were like 10 years ago, I'd say Jim Carrey.
Yeah, but Jim Carrey's
Jim Carrey's a little too good of a head on his shoulders, I guess.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Although
sound unhinged.
Yeah, I will say this. Well, interesting. I will say that there hasn't been a game with Waluigi in like a main title. The only time you ever seen Waluigi is like people make custom games of him on like
weird cameos,
like ROM hack kind of games or just cameos. I don't know why that is. Is it because he's just kind of undesirable as a character? Is it just hard to write him? Because the idea of Wario and Waluigi is that they're evil versions of the Mario Brothers.
Yeah, I don't know why it's so hard for them seemingly to get them in the game.
Yeah.
I'm not fully sure. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's kind of where I stand on it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I dropped that. Oh,
Yeah.
whatever.
I heard that. So it was a great movie. I mean, like it wasn't like, it wasn't supposed to like break new boundaries or reach some stuff, but it was, it did exactly what it needed. And it was
what
pretty...
it needed to be, and it was
Yeah,
very Mario. It captured the feel of Mario. I think Illumination did an excellent job on the animation and the choices they made with characters. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I think they absolutely knocked it out of the park. They did a great job, and I'm very happy that they did.
It helps having Nintendo oversee it and give feedback.
Oh yeah,
And
absolutely.
The best part is I think the best part is just the character arcs they did with Mario and Luigi. Honestly, I'm so glad that, for characters that are typically silent protagonists, or at least they speak their own sort of way, having them have their voices, I think, adds a lot to their personalities. Maybe it's just
I think the people who were saying, "Oh, Mario should just say Yippee and Yahoo the entire movie," those people are dumb. No, it was good to have Mario. Like, look, I was a plumber and I'm starting my own plumbing business. I'd taken my brother along with me. I want to live. He wants to live the American dream. I'm gonna have a successful business, work hard, and be good. And everyone's doubting it. Everyone's like, "Oh, you should keep your stupid stable plumbing job there. You shouldn't, take these risks, man." I liked that. That was a good touch, I think, to it all.
Yeah.
And Charles Martinet, that was great, using him as dad and Giuseppe.
Yeah. Kind of like
It's kind of like in Last of Us
uh,
when they had the original voice actress for Ellie play Ellie's mother, which I thought that was actually a really nice little touch there. Because like, wow, she sounds just like Ellie. Oh, because that is Ellie. No, I liked it. I'm glad they made it. I hope Illumination tries other video game properties and does them that well. I wouldn't mind seeing a Kirby movie. I wouldn't. Not that Kirby could carry a movie on his own, unfortunately. But I'd like to see him take some shots at some of those properties. If this
mhm.
makes a ton of money, they are going to. I think the Thursday domestic take was 26 million. Hold on, let me go look how it did. So the Wednesday take was 31 million. The Thursday take was 26 million, which is a good sign for the weekend because, one, today is a holiday and it's holiday weekend. So, yeah, you're going to have a killer week.
Yeah.
And what was it on Rotten Tomato? It was the critics don't like it, but the fans do. So that's a good sign as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the title, the description's a bit deceptive. The story of the Super Mario Brothers on their journey. I mean, let's be honest. It's the Mario movie. Luigi's there and he plays a part in it, but it's the Mario movie. Good. It's fun. It's a good movie for the whole family. Definitely. Worried about weird messages in your media. This one doesn't really have any of those.
Right.
It's just like, hey, they're brothers, they're family, and, they go on a heroic adventure to save a bunch of weird mushroom people.
Yep.
So, how would you rate the movie on a numeric scale?
You know, I would say it's an 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd give it probably like an 8. But I think it's
Like,
definitely up there. It's good.
hmm
It's good. 8.5. I think those are good ratings for it. It's not like transcendently good, but it's just really good. It's fun, and it captures Mario. It's not, oh, I'm Chris Pratt wearing Mario's skin. No, it's Super Mario played by Chris Pratt. Lucky for Chris Pratt, he's got a ton of charisma too. Yeah. All right. Awesome. So, when's the next Substack article coming out, Yellow Lantern?
Gonna try to get it out this weekend. Um,
Just remember, when you advertise it on Twitter, they'll block promotion for it.
yeah, I'm not happy. Apparently, it's because of some dispute with Substack Notes. I would have to. So what I'm gonna do is I'll pin the tweet of what the subjects are, and then the subtweet will be the article itself. Although I heard that if you create like a custom shortened link to your Substack, that's still
like a
works.
Bitly, like a Bitly
Yeah,
would be fine.
Yeah, Bitly. I might
Yeah.
try that out. How do you do that? Like, do you need
Okay, so what I want, just type in link shortener, and Bitly should be one of the ones that comes up.
Yeah, I might do that just cause, and I'll publish it. The first post will be on the on the weekend, and some of the commentary, the stuff we've discussed, as well as the next one. I'll try to get out before I leave for my trip. Which means I'll probably not be able to do Coast to Coast or something. Coast to
Next
Coast.
week.
Yeah,
Probably take
I'll
next week off unless anything crazy happens anyway. Because I think Mountain Walk is of course working as well. We'll probably pick it up 2 weeks after. That's fine.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
right, man.
no, good night. I'm gonna get some shut eye now.
Yeah, I'll close down this end of the stream and start my post gaming. But you have yourself a great weekend, and since I won't see you till next week, well, I might. I'll probably see you Thursday. But if I don't see you next Thursday, have a great Easter next week and Holy Friday.
Yep. Pashka. And I'll sing him. Good thing is I found another church to go to on my travels so that I'm able to celebrate the resurrection of my Lord Jesus Christ, only begotten Son of God.
And an Orthodox church out where you're traveling?
Yes, there is one nearby, thankfully.
Oh, sweet. Celebrate it there. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome to hear. Well, man, you have a great night and an even better weekend.
All right, thank you.
Right.
Good night.
Good night. All right, chat. That's going to be it for Coast to Ghost. I'm going to go transition over to my other server where I will be playing some post-gaming, some post-game Tarkov. If you want to tune into that, stick around. Stick around for the post-show. But once again, thank you all for tuning in to episode 108 of Coast to Ghost.